Numbers Chapter 1. And Jehovah spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of meeting, on the first day of the 2nd month, in the 2nd year of their coming out of the land of Egypt. He said, Take a census of the whole assembly of the Israelites individually according to their families, according to their paternal houses, according to the count of the names of all the males. You and Aaron are to register by their companies all those from 20 years old and up who can serve in the army in Israel. Take with you 1 man from each tribe. Each one is to be a head of his paternal house. These are the names of the men who will stand with you. Of Reuben, Elizur, the son of Shedeur. Of Simeon, Shelumiel, the son of Zurishaddai. Of Judah, Nahshon, the son of Amminadab. Of Issachar, Nathanael, the son of Zuar. Of Zebulun, Eliab, the son of Helon. Of the sons of Joseph, from Ephraim, Elishama, the son of Ammihud. From Manasseh, Gamaliel, the son of Pedazah. Of Benjamin, Abidan, the son of Gideoni. Of Dan, Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai. Of Asher, Pagiel, the son of Ochran. Of Gad, Eliasaph, the son of Duel. Of Naphtali, Ahira, the son of Enan. These are the ones summoned from the assembly. They are the chieftains of the tribes of their fathers, the heads of the thousands of Israel. So Moses and Aaron took these men who had been designated by name. They gathered all the assembly on the first day of the 2nd month, so that they might be registered individually by name, by family, and by their paternal houses, from 20 years old and up, just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. So he registered them in the wilderness of Sinai. The sons of Reuben, the descendants of Israel's firstborn, were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted individually, and the number registered of the tribe of Reuben was 46,500. The descendants of Simeon were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted individually, and the number registered of the tribe of Simeon was 59,300. The descendants of Gad were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted, and the number registered of the tribe of Gad was 45,650. The descendants of Judah were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted, and the number registered of the tribe of Judah was 74,600. The descendants of Issachar were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted, and the number registered of the tribe of Issachar was 54,400. The descendants of Zebulun were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted, and the number registered of the tribe of Zebulun was 57,400. The descendants of Joseph through Ephraim were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted, and the number registered of the tribe of Ephraim was 40,500. The descendants of Manasseh were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted, and the number registered of the tribe of Manasseh was 32,200. The descendants of Benjamin were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted, and the number registered of the tribe of Benjamin was 35,400. The descendants of Dan were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted, and the number registered of the tribe of Dan was 62,700. The descendants of Asher were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted, and the number registered of the tribe of Asher was 41,500. The descendants of Naphtali were listed by name, by family, and by their paternal houses. All the males from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army were counted, and the number registered of the tribe of Naphtali was 53,400. These were registered by Moses, together with Aaron and the 12 chieftains of Israel, each representing his paternal house. All the Israelites from 20 years old and up who could serve in the army in Israel were registered by their paternal house, and the total number registered was 603,550. But the Levites were not registered in among them by the tribe of their fathers. So Jehovah told Moses, "Only the tribe of Levi you are not to register, and you should not include the number of them along with the other Israelites. You should appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of the testimony, and over all its utensils and over everything that belongs to it. They will carry the tabernacle and all its utensils, and they will minister at it, and they are to camp around the tabernacle. Whenever the tabernacle is to be moved, the Levites should take it down, and when the tabernacle is to be reassembled, the Levites should set it up, and any unauthorized person who comes near should be put to death. Each Israelite should set up his tent in his assigned camp, each man according to his 3-tribe division by their companies. And the Levites should encamp around the tabernacle of the testimony, so that no indignation may arise against the assembly of the Israelites, and the Levites must be responsible for the care of the tabernacle of the testimony." The people of Israel did all that Jehovah had commanded Moses. They did just so. Chapter 2. Jehovah now spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "The Israelites should encamp where their 3-tribe division is assigned, each man near the banner of his paternal house. They should camp facing the tent of meeting, all around it. Those camping on the east side, toward the sunrise, will be the 3-tribe division of the encampment of Judah, by their companies. The chieftain for the sons of Judah is Nahshon, the son of Amminadab. Those registered in his army are 74,600. Camping alongside him will be the tribe of Issachar. The chieftain for the sons of Issachar is Nethanel, the son of Zuar. Those registered in his army are 54,400. Next is the tribe of Zebulun. The chieftain for the sons of Zebulun is Eliab, the son of Helon. Those registered in his army are 57,400. All those registered in the armies of the camp of Judah are 186,400. They should break camp first. The 3-tribe division of the encampment of Reuben, by their companies, will be toward the south. The chieftain for the sons of Reuben is Elizur, the son of Shedeur. Those registered in his army are 46,500. Camping alongside him will be the tribe of Simeon. The chieftain for the sons of Simeon is Shelumiel, the son of Zurishaddai. Those registered in his army are 59,300. Next is the tribe of Gad. The chieftain for the sons of Gad is Eliasaph, the son of Ruel. Those registered in his army are 45,650. All those registered in the armies of the camp of Reuben are 151,450, and they should break camp second. When the tent of meeting is moved, the camp of the Levites should be in the middle of the other camps. They should travel in the same order as they encamp, with each in his place according to their 3-tribe divisions. The 3-tribe division of the encampment of Ephraim, by their companies, will be toward the west. The chieftain for the sons of Ephraim is Elishama, the son of Ammihud. Those registered in his army are 40,500. Next to him will be the tribe of Manasseh. The chieftain for the sons of Manasseh is Gamaliel, the son of Pedazur. Those registered in his army are 32,200. Next is the tribe of Benjamin. The chieftain for the sons of Benjamin is Abidan, the son of Gideoni. Those registered in his army are 35,400. All those registered in the armies of the camp of Ephraim are 108,100, and they should break camp third. The 3-tribe division of the encampment of Dan, by their companies, will be toward the north. The chieftain for the sons of Dan is Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai. Those registered in his army are 62,700. Camping alongside him will be the tribe of Asher. The chieftain for the sons of Asher is Pagiel, the son of Ochran. Those registered in his army are 41,500. Next is the tribe of Naphtali. The chieftain for the sons of Naphtali is Ahira, the son of Enan. Those registered in his army are 53,400. All those registered in the camp of Dan are 157,600. They should break camp last, according to their 3-tribe divisions. These were the Israelites who were registered according to their paternal houses. The total of those in the camps registered for the army was 603,550. But the Levites did not get registered along with the other Israelites, just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. The Israelites did everything that Jehovah had commanded Moses. This is how they encamped by their 3-tribe divisions, and how they broke camp, each by family and according to their paternal houses. Chapter 3. Now these were the family lines of Aaron and Moses in the day that Jehovah spoke with Moses on Mount Sinai. These were the names of Aaron's sons: the firstborn Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These were the names of Aaron's sons, the anointed priests, who had been installed to serve as priests. However, Nadab and Abihu died before Jehovah when they offered unauthorized fire before Jehovah in the wilderness of Sinai, and they did not have any sons. But Eleazar and Ithamar continued to serve as priests, along with Aaron their father. Jehovah then said to Moses, "Bring the tribe of Levi forward, and stand them before Aaron the priest, and they will minister to him. They are to fulfill their responsibilities toward him, and toward all the assembly before the tent of meeting, by carrying out their service in connection with the tabernacle. They are to take care of all the equipment of the tent of meeting, and to carry out their responsibilities toward the Israelites by taking care of the services related to the tabernacle. You are to give the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They are given ones, given to him from the Israelites. You should appoint Aaron and his sons, and they are to carry out their priestly duties, and any unauthorized person who comes near should be put to death." Jehovah continued to speak to Moses, saying, "As for me, look, I take the Levites from among the Israelites in place of all the firstborn of the Israelites, and the Levites will become mine. For every firstborn is mine. In the day that I struck every firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified to myself every firstborn in Israel, from man to beast. They are to become mine. I am Jehovah. Jehovah spoke further to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, Register the sons of Levi by their paternal houses and by their families. You should register every male from a month old and up. So Moses registered them at the order of Jehovah, just as he had been commanded. These were the names of the sons of Levi: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Now these were the names of the sons of Gershon by their families: Libni and Shimei. The sons of Kohath by their families were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The sons of Merari by their families were Mahli and Mushai. These were the families of the Levites by their paternal houses. From Gershon came the family of the Libnites and the family of the Shimeites. These were the families of the Gershonites. The number of all their males a month old and up who were registered was 7,500. The families of the Gershonites were encamped behind the tabernacle, toward the west. The chieftain of the paternal house of the Gershonites was Eliasaph, the son of Lael. The responsibility of the sons of Gershon in the tent of meeting was to care for the tabernacle and the tent, its covering, the screen of the entrance of the tent of meeting, the hanging curtains of the courtyard, the screen of the entrance of the courtyard that surrounds the tabernacle and the altar, its tent cords, and all the service connected with these. From Kohath came the family of the Amramites, the family of the Izharites, the family of the Hebronites, and the family of the Uzzielites. These were the families of the Kohathites. The number of all the males from a month old and up was 8,600. They were responsible for taking care of the holy place. The families of the sons of Kohath camped on the south side of the tabernacle. The chieftain of the paternal house of the families of the Kohathites was Elizaphan, the son of Uzziel. Their responsibility was to care for the ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, the utensils used to minister in the holy place, the screen, and all the service connected with these. The head chieftain of the Levites was Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, who had the oversight of those taking care of the responsibilities of the holy place. From Merari came the family of the Mahlites and the family of the Mushites. These were the families of Merari. The number of all the males from a month old and up who were registered was 6,200. The chieftain of the paternal house of the families of Merari was Zuriel, the son of Abihail. They were encamped on the north side of the tabernacle. The sons of Merari were responsible for overseeing the panel frames of the tabernacle, its bars, its pillars, its socket pedestals, all its utensils, and all the service connected with these, as well as the pillars that were all around the courtyard, and their socket pedestals, their tent pins, and their tent cords. Those camping in front of the tabernacle toward the east, before the tent of meeting toward the sunrise, were Moses and Aaron and his sons. They were responsible for taking care of the sanctuary as their obligation in behalf of the Israelites. Any unauthorized person coming near would be put to death. All the Levite males from a month old and up, whom Moses and Aaron registered by their families at the order of Jehovah, were 22,000. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Register all the firstborn males of the Israelites from a month old and up, count them, and make a list of their names. You must take the Levites for me, I am Jehovah, in place of all the firstborn of the Israelites, and take the domestic animals of the Levites in place of all the firstborn of the domestic animals of the Israelites. Moses then registered all the firstborn among the Israelites, just as Jehovah had commanded him. The number of all the firstborn males who were registered by name from a month old and up was 22,273. Jehovah continued to speak to Moses, saying, take the Levites in place of all the firstborn among the Israelites, and take the domestic animals of the Levites in place of their domestic animals, and the Levites must become mine. I am Jehovah. As the ransom price of the 273 of the firstborn of the Israelites who are in excess of the Levites, you are to take 5 shekels for each individual, according to the standard shekel of the holy place. A shekel is 20 gerahs. You are to give the money to Aaron and his sons, as the ransom price of those who are in excess of them. So Moses took the money of the redemption price from those who were in excess of the ransom price of the Levites. He took the money from the firstborn of the Israelites, 1,365 shekels, according to the standard shekel of the holy place. Then Moses gave the money of the ransom price to Aaron and his sons, according to the word of Jehovah, just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. Chapter 4. Jehovah now spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, A census should be taken of the sons of Kohath from among the sons of Levi, by their families and by their paternal houses, all those from 30 to 50 years old who are in the group assigned to work in the tent of meeting. This is the service of the sons of Kohath in the tent of meeting. It is something most holy. Aaron and his sons will come in when the camp is departing, and take down the screening curtain and cover the ark of the testimony with it. They will put a sealskin covering over it, and spread out a solid blue cloth over it, and put its carrying poles in place. They will also spread out a blue cloth over the table of showbread, and they will put on it the dishes, the cups, the bowls, and the pitchers of the drink offering. The regular offering of bread should remain on it. They will spread out a scarlet cloth over them, and cover it with a sealskin covering, and put its carrying poles in place. Then they will take a blue cloth, and cover the lampstand for the light, along with its lamps, its snuffers, its fire holders, and all its containers for oil that are used to maintain it. They will wrap it and all its utensils in a sealskin covering, and put it on a carrying bar. And they will spread out a blue cloth over the golden altar, cover it with a sealskin covering, and put its carrying poles in place. They will then take all the utensils of the ministry with which they regularly minister in the holy place, and put them in a blue cloth, and cover them with a sealskin covering, and put them on a carrying bar. They should remove the ashes from the altar, and spread out a cloth of purple wool over it. They will put on it all its utensils that are used when they minister at the altar, the fire holders, the forks, the shovels, and the bowls, all the utensils of the altar, and they are to spread a sealskin covering over it, and put its carrying poles in place. Aaron and his sons must finish covering the holy place and all the equipment of the holy place when the camp is departing. Then the sons of Kohath will come in to carry them, but they must not touch the holy place, or they will die. These things are the responsibility of the sons of Kohath in connection with the tent of meeting. Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest is responsible for overseeing the oil of the lighting, the perfumed incense, the regular grain offering, and the anointing oil. He has oversight of the entire tabernacle and all that is in it, including the holy place and its utensils. Jehovah spoke further to Moses and Aaron, saying, Do not let the tribe of the families of the Kohathites be cut off from among the Levites, but do this for them, that they may remain alive and not die because of approaching the most holy things. Aaron and his sons will go in and assign each of them to his service and what he is to carry. They must not come in and see the holy things, even for an instant, or they will die. Then Jehovah spoke to Moses, saying, A census should be taken of the sons of Gershon, by their paternal houses and their families. You are to register all those from 30 to 50 years old, who are in the group assigned to serve in the tent of meeting. This is what the families of the Gershonites are assigned to care for and to carry. They will carry the tent cloths of the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, its covering and the sealskin covering that is on top over it, the screen of the entrance of the tent of meeting, the hanging curtains of the courtyard, the screen of the entrance of the courtyard that surrounds the tabernacle and the altar, their tent cords, and all their utensils and everything used in its service. This is their assignment. All the service and the loads of the Gershonites should be overseen by Aaron and his sons. You will assign all these loads as their responsibility. This is the service that the families of the Gershonites are to carry out in the tent of meeting, and their responsibilities are under the direction of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. As for the sons of Merari, you will register them by family and by their paternal house. From 30 to 50 years old, you will register them, all who are in the group assigned to the service of the tent of meeting. This is what they are responsible for carrying in connection with their service at the tent of meeting. The panel frames of the tabernacle, its bars, its pillars, its socket pedestals, the pillars of the surrounding courtyard, their socket pedestals, their tent pins, and their tent cords, together with all their equipment, and all the service connected with these. You will assign to them by name the equipment they are responsible for carrying. This is how the families of the sons of Merari are to serve at the tent of meeting, under the direction of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. Moses and Aaron and the chieftains of the assembly then registered the sons of the Kohathites by their families and by their paternal house, all those from 30 to 50 years old who were in the group assigned to the service of the tent of meeting. The total of those registered by their families was 2,750. These were registered from the families of the Kohathites, all those who were serving at the tent of meeting. Moses and Aaron registered them at the order of Jehovah through Moses. The sons of Gershon were registered by their families and by their paternal house, all those from 30 to 50 years old who were in the group assigned to the service at the tent of meeting. The total of those registered by their families and by their paternal house was 2,630. This was the registration of the families of the sons of Gershon, all those who were serving at the tent of meeting. Moses and Aaron had them registered at the order of Jehovah. The sons of Merari were registered by their families and by their paternal house, all those from 30 to 50 years old who were in the group assigned to the service at the tent of meeting. The total of those registered of them by their families was 3,200. This was the registration of the families of the sons of Merari, whom Moses and Aaron registered at the order of Jehovah through Moses. Moses and Aaron and the chieftains of Israel registered all these Levites by their families and by their paternal houses. They were from 30 to 50 years old, and all were assigned to serve and carry loads in connection with the tent of meeting. The total of those registered was 8,580. They were registered at the order of Jehovah through Moses, each according to his assigned service and his load. They were registered just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. Chapter 5. Jehovah spoke further to Moses, saying, Command the Israelites to send out of the camp every leprous person, and everyone having a discharge, and everyone unclean by a dead person. Whether a male or a female, you should send them out. You should send them outside the camp, so that they may not contaminate the camps of those in whose midst I am dwelling. Therefore the Israelites did so, and sent them outside the camp. Just as Jehovah told Moses, so the Israelites did. Jehovah continued speaking to Moses, saying, Tell the Israelites, if a man or a woman commits any of the sins of mankind and acts unfaithfully toward Jehovah, that person has become guilty. He must confess the sin that he has committed and return the full amount as compensation for his guilt, and also add a fifth of its value. He is to give it to the one he wronged. But if the victim does not have a close relative to receive the compensation, it should be returned to Jehovah and will belong to the priest, apart from the ram of atonement with which he will make atonement for him. Every holy contribution from the Israelites that is presented to the priest should become his. The holy things of each person will remain his own. Whatever each one gives to the priest, that will belong to the priest. Jehovah went on to speak to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, this is what should be done if a man's wife goes astray and is unfaithful to him, and another man has sexual relations with her, but it was unknown to her husband and remains undiscovered, so that she has defiled herself, but there is no witness against her, and she has not been caught. Whether the husband becomes jealous and suspicious of his wife's faithfulness when she has defiled herself, or whether he is jealous and suspicious of his wife's faithfulness when she has not defiled herself, the man must bring his wife to the priest, along with an offering for her, 1/10 of an ephah of barley flour. He must not pour oil on it, nor put frankincense on it, because it is a grain offering of jealousy, a grain offering bringing guilt to mind. The priest will bring her forward and make her stand before Jehovah. The priest will take holy water in an earthenware vessel, and the priest will take some of the dust from the floor of the tabernacle and put it in the water. And the priest will make the woman stand before Jehovah, and unbind the woman's hair, and put in her palms the grain offering for a reminder, that is, the grain offering of jealousy, and the priest will have in his hand the bitter water that brings a curse. The priest will then make her swear, saying to the woman, "If no other man had sexual relations with you while you were under your husband's authority, and you have not gone astray and become defiled, may you be free of the effect of this bitter water that brings a curse. But if you have gone astray while under your husband's authority by defiling yourself, and you have had sexual relations with another man besides your husband, the priest will then make the woman swear an oath that includes a curse, and the priest will say to the woman, 'May Jehovah make you an object for cursing and for an oath among your people, as Jehovah makes your thigh fall away and causes your abdomen to swell. This water that brings a curse will enter into your intestines to cause your abdomen to swell and make your thigh fall away.' To this the woman should say, 'Amen, Amen.' Then the priest should write these curses in the book and wash them off into the bitter water. He will then make the woman drink the bitter water that brings a curse, and the water that brings a curse will enter into her and produce bitterness. And the priest should take the grain offering of jealousy from the woman's hand and wave the grain offering back and forth before Jehovah, and he will bring it near the altar. The priest will take a handful of the grain offering as a token offering and make it smoke on the altar, and afterward he will make the woman drink the water. When he makes her drink the water, if she has defiled herself and committed an act of unfaithfulness toward her husband, the water that brings a curse will then enter into her and become something bitter, and her abdomen will swell, and her thigh will fall away, and the woman will become an object of cursing among her people. However, if the woman has not defiled herself and is clean, she will then be free from such punishment, and she will be able to conceive and produce offspring. This is the law about jealousy, when a woman may go astray and defile herself while under her husband's authority, or in the case of a man who becomes jealous and suspects his wife of unfaithfulness. He should make his wife stand before Jehovah, and the priest must carry out toward her all this law. The man will be free from guilt, but his wife will answer for her guilt. Chapter 6. Jehovah spoke further to Moses and said, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, if a man or a woman takes a special vow to live as a Nazirite to Jehovah, he should keep away from wine and other alcoholic beverages. He should not drink the vinegar of wine or the vinegar of anything alcoholic. He should not drink any liquid made from grapes, nor eat grapes, whether fresh or dried. All the days of his Naziriteship he should not eat anything made from the grapevine, from the unripe grapes to the skins. All the days of the vow of his Naziriteship no razor should pass over his head. He is to remain holy by letting the hair of his head grow until the days of his being set apart to Jehovah are completed. He should not approach a dead person during all the days he remains separated to Jehovah. Even if his father or his mother or his brother or his sister should die, he may not defile himself, because the sign of his Naziriteship to his God is upon his head. He is holy to Jehovah all the days of his Naziriteship. But if someone should suddenly die alongside him, and he defiles the hair symbolizing his separation to God, he must shave his head on the day he establishes his purification. He should shave it on the 7th day. And on the 8th day he should bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The priest will prepare one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering, and make atonement for him for his sin in connection with the dead person. Then he must sanctify his head on that day. And he must separate himself again to Jehovah for the days of his Naziriteship, and he will bring a young ram in its first year as a guilt offering. However, the former days will go uncounted, because he defiled his Naziriteship. Now this is the law about the Nazirite. When he completes the days of his Naziriteship, he will be brought to the entrance of the tent of meeting. There he must present his offering to Jehovah. 1 sound young ram in its first year as a burnt offering, 1 sound female lamb in its first year as a sin offering, 1 sound ram as a communion sacrifice, a basket of unleavened ring-shaped loaves of fine flour mixed with oil, unleavened wafers smeared with oil, and their grain offering and their drink offerings. The priest will present them before Jehovah, and will offer up his sin offering and his burnt offering. He will offer the ram as a communion sacrifice to Jehovah, along with the basket of unleavened loaves, and the priest will present its grain offering and its drink offering. The Nazirite must then shave the uncut hair of his head at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and he will take the hair of his head grown during his Naziriteship and put it on the fire that is under the communion sacrifice. And the priest must take a boiled shoulder from the ram, 1 unleavened ring-shaped loaf from the basket, and 1 unleavened wafer, and put them on the palms of the Nazirite, after he has had the sign of his Naziriteship shaved off. And the priest must wave them back and forth as a wave offering before Jehovah. It is something holy for the priest, along with the breast of the wave offering and the leg of the contribution. Afterward, the Nazirite may drink wine. This is the law about the Nazirite who makes a vow. If he vows and can afford to make an offering to Jehovah that is beyond the requirements of his Naziriteship, he must then carry out his vow, out of regard for the law of his Naziriteship. Then Jehovah said to Moses, "Tell Aaron and his sons, this is the way you should bless the people of Israel. Say to them, May Jehovah bless you and safeguard you. May Jehovah make his face shine upon you, and may he favor you. May Jehovah lift up his face toward you and grant you peace. And they must place my name upon the people of Israel, that I may bless them." Chapter 7. On the day that Moses finished setting up the tabernacle, he anointed it and sanctified it, together with all its furnishings, the altar, and all its utensils. When he had anointed and sanctified these things, the chieftains of Israel, the heads of their paternal houses, made an offering. These chieftains of the tribes, who presided over the registration, brought before Jehovah their offering of 6 covered wagons and 12 oxen, a wagon for 2 chieftains and a bull for each one, and they presented them before the tabernacle. Jehovah said to Moses, "Accept these things from them, as they will be used for the service of the tent of meeting, and you should give them to the Levites, to each one, as needed for his duties." So Moses accepted the wagons and the cattle and gave them to the Levites. He gave 2 wagons and 4 oxen to the sons of Gershon, according to what was needed for their duties. And he gave 4 wagons and 8 oxen to the sons of Merari, according to what was needed for their duties, under the direction of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. But he did not give any to the sons of Kohath, because their duties involved the service of the holy place, and they carried the holy things on their shoulders. Now the chieftains made their presentation at the inauguration of the altar, on the day it was anointed. When the chieftains presented their offering before the altar, Jehovah said to Moses, "1 chieftain each day, on successive days, will present his offering for the inauguration of the altar." The one who presented his offering on the first day was Nahshon, the son of Amminadab, of the tribe of Judah. His offering was 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Nahshon, the son of Amminadab. On the second day, Nethanel, the son of Zuar, the chieftain of Issachar, made a presentation. He presented as his offering 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Nethanel, the son of Zuar. On the third day, the chieftain for the sons of Zebulun, Eliab, the son of Helon, made his offering of 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Eliab, the son of Helon. On the fourth day, the chieftain for the sons of Reuben, Elizur, the son of Shedeur, made his offering of 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Eleazar, the son of Shedeur. On the 5th day, the chieftain for the sons of Simeon, Shelumiel, the son of Zurishaddai, made his offering of 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Shelumiel, the son of Zurishaddai. On the 6th day, the chieftain for the sons of Gad, Eliasaph, the son of Deuel, made his offering of 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Eliasaph, the son of Deuel. On the 7th day, the chieftain for the sons of Ephraim, Elishama, the son of Ammihud, made his offering of 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Elishama, the son of Ammihud. On the 8th day, the chieftain for the sons of Manasseh, Gamaliel, the son of Pedazur, made his offering of 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Gamaliel, the son of Pedazur. On the 9th day, the chieftain for the sons of Benjamin, Abidan, the son of Gideoni, made his offering of 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Abidan, the son of Gideoni. On the 10th day, the chieftain for the sons of Dan, Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai, made his offering of 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai. On the 11th day, the chieftain for the sons of Asher, Pagiel the son of Ochran, made his offering of 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Pagiel, the son of Ochran. On the 12th day, the chieftain for the sons of Naphtali, Ahira, the son of Enan, made his offering of 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, by the standard shekel of the holy place, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 gold cup weighing 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, 1 young goat for a sin offering, and for a communion sacrifice 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, each a year old. This was the offering of Ahira, the son of Enan. This was the inauguration offering of the altar from the chieftains of Israel when it was anointed: 12 silver dishes, 12 silver bowls, 12 gold cups, each silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and each bowl weighing 70 shekels. All the silver of the vessels amounting to 2,400 shekels by the standard shekel of the holy place. The 12 gold cups full of incense each weighed 10 shekels by the standard shekel of the holy place. All the gold of the cups amounting to 120 shekels. All the cattle for the burnt offering were 12 bulls, 12 rams, 12 male lambs each a year old and their grain offerings, and 12 young goats for a sin offering. And all the cattle of the communion sacrifice amounted to 24 bulls, 60 rams, 60 male goats, and 60 male lambs, each a year old. This was the inauguration offering of the altar after it was anointed. Whenever Moses went into the tent of meeting to speak with God, he would hear the voice conversing with him from above the cover of the ark of the testimony, from between the 2 cherubs, and God would speak to him. Chapter 8. Jehovah spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Aaron and tell him, when you light up the lamps, the 7 lamps should shine on the area in front of the lampstand." So Aaron did this. He lit up its lamps for the area in front of the lampstand, just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. This is how the lampstand was made. It was hammered work of gold. From its stem to its blossoms, it was hammered work. The lampstand was made according to the vision that Jehovah had shown Moses. Jehovah spoke again to Moses, saying, "Take the Levites from among the Israelites and cleanse them. This is how you should cleanse them. Sprinkle sin-cleansing water on them, and they must shave their whole body with a razor, wash their garments, and cleanse themselves. Then they will take a young bull and its grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, and you will take another young bull for a sin offering. And you are to present the Levites before the tent of meeting, and gather all the assembly of the Israelites. When you present the Levites before Jehovah, the Israelites are to lay their hands on the Levites. And Aaron must offer the Levites before Jehovah as a wave offering from the Israelites, and they will carry out the service of Jehovah. Then the Levites will lay their hands on the heads of the bulls. After that, offer the one as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering to Jehovah, to make atonement for the Levites. And you will have the Levites stand before Aaron and his sons, and offer them as a wave offering to Jehovah. You must separate the Levites from among the Israelites, and the Levites will become mine. Afterward, the Levites will come in to serve at the tent of meeting. This is how you should cleanse them and offer them as a wave offering. For they are given ones, given to me from among the Israelites. In place of all those who are firstborn of the Israelites, I will take them for myself. For every firstborn among the Israelites is mine, both man and animal. I sanctified them to myself on the day I struck down every firstborn in the land of Egypt. I will take the Levites in place of all the firstborn among the Israelites. I will give the Levites as given ones to Aaron and his sons from among the Israelites to carry out the service in behalf of the Israelites at the tent of meeting, and to make atonement for the Israelites, so that no plague may occur among the Israelites, because the people of Israel come near the holy place. Moses and Aaron and all the assembly of the Israelites did this with the Levites. In accord with all that Jehovah had commanded Moses regarding the Levites, that is what the Israelites did with them. So the Levites purified themselves and washed their garments, after which Aaron offered them as a wave offering before Jehovah. Then Aaron made atonement for them to cleanse them. Thereafter the Levites went in to carry out their service at the tent of meeting before Aaron and his sons, just as Jehovah had commanded Moses respecting the Levites, so they did with them. Jehovah now spoke to Moses, saying, This applies to the Levites. From 25 years old and up, a man will join the company of those in the service of the tent of meeting. But after the age of 50 years, he will retire from the service company and not serve any longer. He may minister to his brothers who are taking care of the responsibilities at the tent of meeting, but he must not perform the service there. This is what you are to do regarding the Levites and their responsibilities. Chapter 9. Jehovah spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they had come out of the land of Egypt, saying, The Israelites should prepare the Passover sacrifice at its appointed time. On the 14th day of this month at twilight you should prepare it at its appointed time. According to all its statutes and all its set procedures, you should prepare it. So Moses told the Israelites to prepare the Passover sacrifice. Then they prepared the Passover sacrifice in the first month on the 14th day of the month at twilight in the wilderness of Sinai. According to all that Jehovah had commanded Moses, so the Israelites did. Now there were men who had become unclean by touching a dead body, so that they were not able to prepare the Passover sacrifice on that day. So those men presented themselves before Moses and Aaron on that day and said to him,
We are unclean because of touching a dead body.
Why should we be kept from presenting the offering to Jehovah at its appointed time among the Israelites?
At this Moses said to them, Wait there and let me hear what Jehovah may command regarding you. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Tell the Israelites, although any man among you, or of your future generations, should become unclean by touching a dead body, or should be off on a distant journey, he must still prepare the Passover sacrifice to Jehovah. They should prepare it in the second month, on the 14th day at twilight. They should eat it together with unleavened bread and bitter greens. They must not let any of it remain until morning, and they should not break any bone in it. They should prepare it according to every statute regarding the Passover. But if a man was clean or was not off on a journey and neglected to prepare the Passover sacrifice, that person must then be cut off from his people, because he did not present the offering of Jehovah at its appointed time. That man will answer for his sin. And if a foreign resident is residing with you, he should also prepare the Passover sacrifice to Jehovah. He should do so according to the statute of the Passover and its set procedure. There should exist one statute for you, both for the foreign resident and for the native of the land. Now on the day the tabernacle was set up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, the tent of the testimony. But in the evening, what appeared to be fire remained over the tabernacle until morning. That is what continued to take place. The cloud would cover it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. Whenever the cloud lifted from the tent, the Israelites would promptly depart, and in the place where the cloud would remain, there is where the Israelites would encamp. At the order of Jehovah, the Israelites would depart, and at the order of Jehovah, they would encamp. As long as the cloud remained over the tabernacle, they would remain encamped. When the cloud would stay over the tabernacle for many days, the Israelites would obey Jehovah and not depart. Sometimes the cloud would remain for a few days over the tabernacle. At the order of Jehovah, they would remain encamped, and at the order of Jehovah, they would depart. Sometimes the cloud would remain only from evening until morning, and when the cloud lifted in the morning, they would depart. Whether it was day or night when the cloud lifted, they would depart. Whether it was 2 days, a month, or longer, as long as the cloud stayed over the tabernacle, the Israelites remained encamped and would not depart. But when it lifted, they would depart. At the order of Jehovah they would encamp, and at the order of Jehovah they would depart. They kept their obligation to Jehovah at the order of Jehovah through Moses. Chapter 10. Jehovah then said to Moses, "Make 2 trumpets for yourself. Make them of hammered silver, and use them to summon the assembly, and to break up the camps. When both of them are blown, the whole assembly must be summoned to you at the entrance of the tent of meeting. If just one is blown, only the chieftains, the heads of the thousands of Israel, will be summoned to you. When you sound a fluctuating trumpet blast, the camps of those to the east should depart. When you sound a fluctuating trumpet blast the second time, the camps of those to the south should depart. They should sound the trumpet blasts in this way each time one of them departs. Now when calling the congregation together, you should blow the trumpets, but not with fluctuating blasts. Aaron's sons, the priests, should blow the trumpets, and the use of them will serve as a lasting statute for you throughout your generations. If you should go to war in your land against an oppressor who is harassing you, you should sound a war call on the trumpets, and you will be remembered by Jehovah your God and be saved from your enemies. Also, on your joyous occasions, your festivals, and at the beginning of your months, you are to sound the trumpets over your burnt offerings and your communion sacrifices. They will serve as a reminder for you before your God. I am Jehovah your God. Now in the 2nd year, in the 2nd month, on the 20th day of the month, the cloud lifted from over the tabernacle of the testimony. So the Israelites began to pull away from the wilderness of Sinai in the order established for their departure, and the cloud settled in the wilderness of Paran. This was the first time they departed, following the order of Jehovah through Moses. So the 3-tribe division of the camp of the sons of Judah departed first by their companies, and Nahshon the son of Amminadab was over its company. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Issachar was Nathanael the son of Zuar. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Zebulun was Eliab the son of Helon. When the tabernacle was taken down, the sons of Gershon and the sons of Merari, who carried the tabernacle, departed. Then the 3-tribe division of the camp of Reuben departed by their companies, and Elizur the son of Shedeur was over its company. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Simeon was Shelumiel the son of Zurishaddai. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Gad was Eliasaph the son of Duel. Then the Kohathites, who carried the sanctuary items, departed. The tabernacle was to be set up by the time they arrived. Then the 3-tribe division of the camp of the sons of Ephraim departed by their companies, and Elishama, the son of Ammihud, was over its company. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Manasseh was Gamaliel, the son of Pedazah. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Benjamin was Abidan, the son of Gideoni. Then the 3-tribe division of the camp of the sons of Dan departed by their companies, forming the rear guard for all the camps, and Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai, was over its company. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Asher was Pagiel, the son of Ochran. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Naphtali was Ahira, the son of Enan. This was the order of departure that the Israelites and their companies followed when they would depart. Then Moses said to Hobab, the son of Ruel, the Midianite, the father-in-law of Moses, "We are setting out for the place about which Jehovah said, 'I will give it to you.' Do come with us, and we will treat you well, because Jehovah has promised good things for Israel." But he said to him,
"I will not go. I will return to my own country and to my relatives."
At this he said, "Please do not leave us, for you know where we should camp in the wilderness, and you can serve as our guide. And if you do come with us, whatever goodness Jehovah shows to us, we will surely show to you." So they began marching from the mountain of Jehovah for a journey of 3 days, and the ark of Jehovah's covenant traveled before them for the 3-day journey, to search out a resting place for them. And Jehovah's cloud was over them by day, when they set out from the encampment. Whenever the ark was moved, Moses would say, "Rise up, O Jehovah, and let your enemies be scattered, and let those who hate you flee from before you." And when it would rest, he would say, "Do return, O Jehovah, to the countless thousands of Israel." Chapter 11. Now the people began to complain bitterly before Jehovah. When Jehovah heard it, his anger flared, and a fire from Jehovah began to blaze against them, and to consume some on the outskirts of the camp. When the people began to cry out to Moses, he made supplication to Jehovah, and the fire died out. So that place was given the name Taberah, because a fire from Jehovah had blazed against them. The mixed crowd who were in their midst then expressed selfish longing, and the Israelites too began to weep again and say,
"Who will give us meat to eat?"
How fondly we remember the fish that we used to eat without cost in Egypt. Also the cucumbers, the watermelons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic.
But now we are withering away. We see nothing at all except this manna.
Incidentally, the manna was like coriander seed, and it looked like bdellium gum. The people would spread out and pick it up and grind it in hand mills, or pound it in a mortar. Then they would boil it in cooking pots, or make it into round loaves, and it tasted like an oiled sweet cake. When the dew descended on the camp by night, the manna would also descend on it. Moses heard the people weeping, family after family, each man at the entrance of his tent. And Jehovah became very angry, and Moses was also very displeased. Then Moses said to Jehovah, "Why have you afflicted your servant? Why have I not found favor in your eyes, so that you put the burden of all this people on me? Did I conceive all this people? Did I give birth to them, so that you should tell me, 'Carry them in your bosom, just as an attendant carries the nursing child, to the land that you swore to give to their forefathers?' From where will I get meat to give to all this people? For they keep weeping before me, saying, 'Give us meat to eat.' I am not able to bear all this people by myself. It is too much for me. If this is how you are going to treat me, please kill me right now. If I have found favor in your eyes, do not make me see any more calamity." Jehovah replied to Moses, Gather for me 70 men from the elders of Israel, men whom you recognize as elders and officials of the people, and take them to the tent of meeting, and have them stand there with you. I will come down and speak with you there, and I will take away some of the spirit that is on you and place it on them, and they will help you in bearing the burden of the people, so that you may not have to bear it alone. You should say to the people, Sanctify yourselves for tomorrow, for you will certainly eat meat, because you have wept in Jehovah's hearing, and have said, Who will give us meat to eat? It was better for us in Egypt. Jehovah will certainly give you meat, and you will eat. You will eat not 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, nor 10 days, nor 20 days, but for a whole month of days, until it comes out of your nostrils, and it has become loathsome to you. For you rejected Jehovah, who is in your midst, and you were weeping before him, saying, Why is it that we have come out of Egypt? Then Moses said, The people I am among number 600,000 men on foot, and yet you yourself have said, Meat I will give them, and they will eat enough for a whole month of days. If whole flocks and herds were slaughtered, would it be enough for them? Or if all the fish of the sea were caught, would it be enough for them? Jehovah then said to Moses, Is the hand of Jehovah too short? Now you will see whether what I say will happen to you or not. So Moses went out and spoke the words of Jehovah to the people. And he gathered 70 men from the elders of the people, and had them stand around the tent. Then Jehovah came down in a cloud and spoke to him, and took away some of the spirit that was on him, and put it on each of the 70 elders. And as soon as the spirit settled down on them, they began to behave as prophets, but they did not do it again. There were 2 of the men still in the camp. Their names were Eldad and Medad, and the Spirit began to settle down on them, as they were among those whose names had been written down, but they had not gone out to the tent. So they began to behave as prophets in the camp. And a young man ran and reported to Moses,
Eldad and Medad are behaving as prophets in the camp.
Then Joshua the son of Nun, the minister of Moses from his youth, responded and said,
My lord Moses, restrain them.
But Moses said to him, Are you jealous for me? No. I wish that all of Jehovah's people were prophets, and that Jehovah would put his spirit on them. Later, Moses returned to the camp along with the elders of Israel. Then a wind from Jehovah sprang up and began driving quail from the sea and causing them to fall around the camp, about a day's journey on this side and a day's journey on the other side, all around the camp, and they were about 2 cubits deep on the ground. So all that day and all night and all the next day the people stayed up and gathered the quail. No one gathered less than 10 homers, and they kept spreading them all around the camp for themselves. But while the meat was still between their teeth, before it could be chewed, Jehovah's anger blazed against the people, and Jehovah began striking the people with a very great slaughter. So they gave that place the name Kibroth-Hattaavah, because there they buried the people who showed selfish craving. From Kibroth-Hattaavah the people departed for Hazeroth, and they remained at Hazeroth. Chapter 12. Now Miriam and Aaron began to speak against Moses because of the Cushite wife he had married, for he had taken a Cushite wife. They were saying,
Is it only by Moses that Jehovah has spoken? Has he not also spoken through us?
And Jehovah was listening. Now the man Moses was by far the meekest of all the men on the face of the earth. Jehovah suddenly said to Moses and Aaron and Miriam, Go out, the 3 of you, to the tent of meeting. So the three of them went out. And Jehovah came down in the pillar of cloud, and stood at the entrance of the tent, and called Aaron and Miriam. Both of them went forward. He then said, "Hear my words, please. If there was a prophet of Jehovah among you, I would make myself known to him in a vision, and I would speak to him in a dream. But it is not that way with my servant Moses. He is being entrusted with all my house. Face to face I speak to him, openly, not by riddles, and the appearance of Jehovah is what he sees. Why then did you not fear to speak against my servant, against Moses?" So Jehovah's anger burned against them, and he departed from them. The cloud moved away from over the tent, and look, Miriam was struck with leprosy, as white as snow. Then Aaron turned toward Miriam, and he saw that she was struck with leprosy. Immediately Aaron said to Moses,
"I beg you, my lord, please do not hold this sin against us. We have acted foolishly in what we have done. Please, do not let her continue like someone dead, whose flesh is half eaten away at birth."
And Moses began to cry out to Jehovah, saying, "O God, please heal her, please." Jehovah replied to Moses, "If her father would spit directly in her face, would she not be humiliated for 7 days? Let her be quarantined for 7 days outside the camp, and afterward she may be brought back in." So Miriam was quarantined outside the camp for 7 days, and the people did not break camp until Miriam was brought back in. Then the people departed from Hazeroth and began camping in the wilderness of Paran. Chapter 13. Jehovah now spoke to Moses, saying, "Send out men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites. You are to send out 1 man from each ancestral tribe, each one a chieftain among them." So Moses sent them out from the wilderness of Paran at the order of Jehovah. All the men were heads of the Israelites. These are their names. Of the tribe of Reuben, Shemua the son of Zaccur. Of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat the son of Hori. Of the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh. Of the tribe of Issachar, Igal the son of Joseph. Of the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea the son of Nun. Of the tribe of Benjamin, Paltai the son of Raphu. Of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel the son of Sodai. Of the tribe of Joseph, for the tribe of Manasseh, Gadai the son of Susai. Of the tribe of Dan, Amiel the son of Gamalai. Of the tribe of Asher, Sethur the son of Michael. Of the tribe of Naphtali, Nabai the son of Vaphsai. Of the tribe of Gad, Guel the son of Machai. These are the names of the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses gave the name Joshua to Hoshea the son of Nun. When Moses was sending them to spy out the land of Canaan, he said to them, "Go up there into the Negeb, and then go up into the mountainous region. You must see what kind of land it is, and whether the people who are dwelling in it are strong or weak, few or many, and whether the land is good or bad, and whether the cities they are dwelling in are encampments or fortifications. And find out whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are trees in it or not. You must be courageous and take some of the fruitage of the land." Now it was the season of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Zin to Rehob, near Lebo-Hamath. When they went up into the Negeb, they came to Hebron, where Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmai, the Anakim, were living. Incidentally, Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan of Egypt. When they came to the valley of Eshcol, There they cut down a branch with one cluster of grapes, which 2 of the men had to carry on a bar, as well as some of the pomegranates and figs. They called that place the Valley of Eshcol, because of the cluster that the Israelites cut down from there. At the end of 40 days, they returned from spying out the land. So they came back to Moses and Aaron and all the assembly of the Israelites in the wilderness of Paran, at Kadesh. They brought back a report to all the assembly and showed them the fruitage of the land. This is what they reported to Moses.
We entered the land into which you sent us, and it is indeed flowing with milk and honey, and this is its fruitage. Nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the fortified cities are very great. We also saw the Anakim there. The Amalekites are dwelling in the land of the Negeb, and the Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites are dwelling in the mountainous region, and the Canaanites are dwelling by the sea and along the Jordan.
Then Caleb tried to calm the people as they stood before Moses by saying,
"Let us go up immediately, and we are sure to take possession of it, because we can surely conquer it."
But the men who went up with him said,
"We are not able to go up against the people, because they are stronger than we are."
And they kept on giving the Israelites a bad report about the land that they had spied out, saying,
"The land that we passed through to spy out is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw in it are men of extraordinary size. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who are from the Nephilim. And in comparison, we seemed like grasshoppers, both to us and to them."
Chapter 14. Then all the assembly raised their voice, and the people continued crying out and weeping all through that night. All the Israelites began to murmur against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly spoke against them, saying,
"If only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in this wilderness."
Why is Jehovah bringing us to this land to fall by the sword? Our wives and children will become plunder. Is it not better for us to return to Egypt?
They were even saying to one another,
"Let us appoint a leader and return to Egypt."
At this Moses and Aaron fell with their faces to the ground before the whole assembled congregation of the Israelites. Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who spied out the land, ripped their garments apart, and they said this to all the assembly of the Israelites:
"The land that we passed through to spy out is a very, very good land. If Jehovah is pleased with us, He will certainly bring us into this land and give it to us, a land that is flowing with milk and honey."
But you must not rebel against Jehovah, and you must not fear the people of the land, for we will devour them. Their protection has been removed from them, and Jehovah is with us. Do not fear them.
However, all the assembly talked of stoning them. But Jehovah's glory appeared on the tent of meeting to all the people of Israel. Then Jehovah said to Moses, "How much longer will this people treat me without respect? And how much longer will they not put faith in me, in spite of all the signs that I performed among them? Let me strike them with pestilence and drive them away, and let me make you into a nation greater and mightier than they are." But Moses said to Jehovah, "Then the Egyptians, from whose midst you brought this people out by your power, will hear, and they will speak about it to the inhabitants of this land. These also have heard that you, Jehovah, are among this people, and have appeared to them face to face. You are Jehovah, and your cloud is standing over them, and you are going before them in the pillar of cloud by day, and in the pillar of fire by night. If you put this people to death all at once, the nations who have heard of your fame would say this: Jehovah was not able to bring this people into the land he swore to give them, so he slaughtered them in the wilderness. Please now, Jehovah, let your power be great, as you promised when you said, Jehovah, slow to anger and abundant in loyal love, pardoning error and transgression, but he will by no means leave the guilty unpunished, bringing punishment for the error of fathers upon sons, upon the third generation, and upon the fourth generation. Forgive, please, the error of this people according to your great loyal love, just as you have pardoned this people from Egypt until now. Then Jehovah said, I forgive them according to your word. But on the other hand, as surely as I live, all the earth will be filled with the glory of Jehovah. However, not one of the men who have seen my glory and my signs that I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, and yet have kept testing me these 10 times, and have not listened to my voice, will ever see the land about which I swore to their fathers. No, not one of those treating me without respect will see it. But because my servant Caleb had a different spirit, and kept following after me wholeheartedly, I will certainly bring him into the land where he went, and his offspring will take possession of it. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are dwelling in the valley, you should turn back tomorrow, and set off for the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Jehovah then said to Moses and Aaron, How much longer will this evil assembly keep up this murmuring against me? I have heard what the Israelites are murmuring against me. Say to them, As surely as I live, declares Jehovah, I will do to you just what I have heard you speak. In this wilderness your corpses will fall, yes, the whole number of you, from 20 years old and up, who were registered, all of you who have murmured against me. None of you will enter into the land that I swore to have you reside in, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. And I will bring in your children, who you said would become plunder, and they will get to know the land that you have rejected. But your own corpses will fall in this wilderness. Now your sons will become shepherds in the wilderness 40 years, and they will have to answer for your acts of unfaithfulness until the last one of your corpses falls in the wilderness. According to the number of the days that you spied out the land, 40 days, a day for a year, a day for a year, you will answer for your errors 40 years, for you will know what it means to oppose me. I, Jehovah, have spoken. This is what I will do to all this evil assembly, those who have gathered together against me. In this wilderness they will come to their end, and here they will die. The men whom Moses sent to spy out the land, and who caused the whole assembly to murmur against him when they returned with a bad report about the land, yes, the men who brought back the bad report about the land will be struck down and die before Jehovah. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who went to spy out the land, will certainly keep living. When Moses spoke these words to all the Israelites, the people began to mourn a great deal. Moreover, they got up early in the morning and tried to go up to the top of the mountain, saying,
Here we are ready to go up to the place that Jehovah spoke about, for we have sinned.
But Moses said, Why are you going beyond the order of Jehovah? This will not succeed. Do not go up, for Jehovah is not with you, and you will be defeated by your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there to face you, and you will fall by the sword. Because you turned away from following Jehovah, Jehovah will not be with you. However, they presumptuously went toward the top of the mountain, but the ark of Jehovah's covenant and Moses did not move away from the middle of the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who were dwelling in that mountain came down and struck them, scattering them as far as Hormah. Chapter 15. Jehovah spoke further to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelites and say to them, "When you eventually come into the land that I am giving you to dwell in, and you make an offering by fire to Jehovah from the herd or from the flock, whether a burnt offering or a sacrifice to perform a special vow, or a voluntary offering, or an offering during your seasonal festivals, in order to make a pleasing aroma to Jehovah, the one presenting his offering must also present to Jehovah a grain offering of fine flour, 1/10 of an ephah, mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil. You should also offer wine as a drink offering, 1/4 of a hin, together with the burnt offering, or for the sacrifice of each male lamb. Or for a ram, you should make a grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah measure of fine flour, mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil. And you should present wine as a drink offering, 1/3 of a hin, as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. But if you should offer a male of the herd as a burnt offering, or a sacrifice to perform a special vow, or communion sacrifices to Jehovah, you should also present together with the male of the herd a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah measure of fine flour, mixed with 1/2 a hin of oil. You should also present wine as a drink offering, 1/2 a hin, as an offering made by fire, as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. This is what should be done for each bull, or for each ram, or for each of the male lambs or of the goats. Whatever may be the number that you offer, that is what you should do for each one, according to their number. This is how every native-born Israelite should present an offering made by fire, as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. If a foreigner who is residing with you, or one who has been in your midst for many of your generations, should also make an offering by fire, as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah, he should do just as you do. You, who are of the congregation, and the foreigner who is residing with you, will have one statute. It will be a lasting statute for all your generations. The foreign resident should be the same as you before Jehovah. There should be one law and one judicial decision for you and for the foreigner who is residing with you. Jehovah went on to say to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, when you come into the land where I am bringing you, and you eat any of the bread of the land, you should make a contribution to Jehovah. You should make a contribution of the first fruits of your course meal, as ring-shaped loaves. Like the contribution of a threshing floor is the way you should contribute it. Some of the first fruits of your course meal you should give as a contribution to Jehovah throughout your generations." Now, if you make a mistake and fail to observe all these commandments that Jehovah has spoken to Moses, all that Jehovah has commanded you through Moses, from the day that Jehovah commanded and onward for your generations, and if it was done by mistake, and without the knowledge of the assembly, the whole assembly must offer one young bull as a burnt offering for a pleasing aroma to Jehovah, together with its grain offering and its drink offering, according to the regular procedure, and one young goat as a sin offering. The priest will make atonement for the whole assembly of the Israelites, and it will be forgiven them, because it was a mistake, and they brought as their offering an offering made by fire to Jehovah, and their sin offering before Jehovah for their mistake. It will be forgiven the whole assembly of the Israelites and the foreigner who is residing in their midst, because it was by mistake on the part of all the people. If any person should sin by mistake, then he must present a female goat in its first year for a sin offering. And the priest will make atonement for the person who made a mistake by an unintentional sin before Jehovah, so as to make atonement for it, and it will be forgiven him. As for the native born among the Israelites and the foreigner who is residing in their midst, there should be one law for you in the matter of doing something unintentionally. But the person who does something deliberately, whether he is native-born or a foreign resident, is blaspheming Jehovah and must be cut off from among his people. Because he has despised Jehovah's word and broken his commandment, that person should be cut off without fail. His own error is upon him. While the Israelites were in the wilderness, they found a man collecting pieces of wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him collecting wood brought him up to Moses and Aaron and the whole assembly. They committed him into custody, because it had not been specified what should be done to him. And Jehovah said to Moses, "The man should be put to death without fail, and the whole assembly should stone him outside the camp." So the whole assembly brought him outside the camp and stoned him so that he died, just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. Jehovah went on to say this to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them that they must make for themselves fringed edges on the skirts of their garments throughout their generations, and they are to put a blue string above the fringed edge of the skirt. You must have this fringed edge so that you will see it and remember all the commandments of Jehovah and observe them. You must not follow your own hearts and eyes, which are leading you to spiritual prostitution. This will help you remember, and you will observe all my commandments and be holy to your God. I am Jehovah your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt in order to prove myself your God. I am Jehovah your God." Chapter 16. Then Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, got up, together with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, of the sons of Reuben. They rose up against Moses, along with 250 Israelite men, chieftains of the assembly, chosen ones of the congregation, prominent men. So they gathered together against Moses and Aaron, and said to them,
"We have had enough of you. The whole assembly is holy, all of them, and Jehovah is in their midst. Why then should you exalt yourselves above the congregation of Jehovah?"
When Moses heard this, he at once fell face down. Then he said to Korah and to all his supporters, "In the morning Jehovah will make known who belongs to him, and who is holy, and who should approach him, and whomever he may choose will approach him. Do this: take fire holders, Korah and all your supporters, and put fire in them, and place incense on them before Jehovah tomorrow. And the man whom Jehovah will choose, he is the Holy One. You sons of Levi have gone far enough." Moses then said to Korah, "Listen, please, you sons of Levi. Does it seem to you such a little thing that the God of Israel has separated you from the assembly of Israel and allowed you to approach him in order to perform the service of Jehovah's tabernacle and to stand before the assembly to minister to them, and that he brought you near to him along with all your brothers, the sons of Levi? Must you also try to secure the priesthood? For this reason, you and all your supporters who are gathering together are against Jehovah. As for Aaron, who is he that you should murmur against him?" Moses later sent for Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they said,
"We are not going to come."
Is it so little a thing that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey to put us to death in the wilderness? Now do you also want to make yourself an absolute ruler over us?
As it is, you have not brought us into any land flowing with milk and honey, or given us an inheritance of field and vineyard. Would you bore out the eyes of those men? We are not going to come."
So Moses became very angry and said to Jehovah, "Do not turn to look at their grain offering. Not one donkey have I taken away from them, nor have I harmed one of them." Then Moses said to Korah, "Present yourself with all your supporters before Jehovah tomorrow, you and they and Aaron. Each one should take his fire holder and put incense on it, and each will present his fire holder before Jehovah, 250 fire holders, together with you and Aaron, each with his fire holder." So each of them took his fire holder, And they put fire and incense on them, and stood at the entrance of the tent of meeting, together with Moses and Aaron. When Korah had gathered his supporters against them at the entrance of the tent of meeting, Jehovah's glory appeared to all the assembly. Jehovah now told Moses and Aaron, "Separate yourselves from among this group, so that I may exterminate them in an instant." At this, they fell with their faces to the ground and said, "O God, the God of the spirit of all people, will one man's sin cause you to become indignant against the entire assembly?" Jehovah then said to Moses, "Speak to the assembly and tell them, 'Get away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram.'" Then Moses got up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel went with him. He told the assembly, "Move away, please, from the tents of these wicked men, and do not touch anything that belongs to them, so that you may not be swept away in all their sin." They immediately moved away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, from every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out, taking their stand at the entrance of their tents, together with their wives, their sons, and their little children. Then Moses said, "By this you will know that Jehovah has sent me to do all these things, that it is not of my own heart. If these people die a natural death, as all men do, and if their punishment is the same as that of all mankind, then Jehovah has not sent me. But if Jehovah does something extraordinary with them, and the ground opens and swallows them and everything that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the grave, you will certainly know that these men have treated Jehovah disrespectfully." As soon as he finished speaking all these words, the ground beneath them split apart, and the earth opened and swallowed them up, along with their households and everyone who belonged to Korah and all their goods. So they and all who belonged to them went down alive into the grave, and the earth covered them over, so that they perished from the midst of the congregation. All the Israelites who were around them fled at their screaming, for they said,
"We are afraid that the earth may swallow us up."
Then a fire came out from Jehovah and consumed the 250 men offering the incense. Jehovah now said to Moses, "Tell Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest to take the fire holders out of the fire, for they are holy. Also tell him to scatter the fire some distance away. The fire holders of the men who sinned at the cost of their lives should be made into thin metal plates to overlay the altar, because they presented them before Jehovah, and they became holy. They should serve as a sign to the Israelites." So Eleazar the priest took the copper fire holders that had been presented by those who were burned up, and beat them to overlay the altar, just as Jehovah had told him through Moses. It was a reminder for the Israelites that no unauthorized person who is not of the offspring of Aaron should approach to burn incense before Jehovah, and that no one should become like Korah and his supporters. On the very next day, the whole assembly of the Israelites began to murmur against Moses and Aaron, saying,
"You two have put Jehovah's people to death."
When the assembly had gathered together against Moses and Aaron, they then turned toward the tent of meeting, and look, the cloud covered it, and Jehovah's glory began to appear. Moses and Aaron went before the tent of meeting, and Jehovah said to Moses, "You men, remove yourselves from among this assembly, so that I may exterminate them in an instant." At this they fell with their faces to the ground. Moses then said to Aaron, "Take the fire holder, and put fire from the altar in it, and put incense on it, and go quickly to the assembly and make atonement for them, because indignation has gone out from Jehovah. The plague has started." Aaron at once took it, just as Moses had said, and ran into the midst of the congregation. And look, The plague had started among the people. So he put the incense on the fire holder and began making atonement for the people. He kept standing between the dead and the living, and the scourge eventually stopped. Those who died from the scourge amounted to 14,700, besides those dead on account of Korah. When at last Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the tent of meeting, the scourge had been stopped. Chapter 17. Jehovah now said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites, and take from them 1 rod for each paternal house, from the chieftains of each paternal house, 12 rods in all. Write the name of each one on his rod. You should write Aaron's name on Levi's rod, because there is 1 rod for the head of each paternal house. Deposit the rods in the tent of meeting before the testimony, where I regularly present myself to you. And the rod of the man whom I choose will bud, and I will put a stop to the murmuring of the Israelites against me, which they are also murmuring against you." So Moses spoke to the Israelites, and all their chieftains gave him rods, a rod for each chieftain of a paternal house, 12 rods, and Aaron's rod was among their rods. Then Moses deposited the rods before Jehovah in the tent of the testimony. On the next day, when Moses went into the tent of the testimony, look, Aaron's rod for the house of Levi had budded, and was bringing forth buds and blossoming flowers and bearing ripe almonds. Moses then brought out all the rods from before Jehovah to all the people of Israel. They looked at them, and each man took his own rod. Jehovah then said to Moses, "Put Aaron's rod back before the testimony, as something to be kept for a sign to the sons of rebelliousness, so that their murmurings against me may cease, and so that they may not die." Moses immediately did just as Jehovah had commanded him. He did just so. The Israelites then said to Moses,
"Now we will die. We will surely perish. We are all going to perish."
Anyone who even comes close to Jehovah's tabernacle will die. Must we end up dying that way?
Chapter 18. Jehovah then said to Aaron, "You and your sons and your paternal house with you will be answerable for any error against the sanctuary, and you and your sons with you will be answerable for any error against your priesthood. Also bring near your brothers of the tribe of Levi, your ancestral tribe, so that they may join you and minister to you and your sons before the tent of the testimony. They are to fulfill their responsibilities to you and to the entire tent. However, they must not come near the utensils of the holy place and the altar, so that neither they nor you may die. They will join you and carry out their responsibilities regarding the tent of meeting and all the service of the tent, and no unauthorized person may come near to you. You must carry out your responsibility toward the holy place and the altar, so that no further indignation may come against the people of Israel. I myself have taken your brothers, the Levites, from among the Israelites as a gift for you. They are given to Jehovah to care for the service of the tent of meeting. You and your sons are responsible for your priestly duties pertaining to the altar and what is inside the curtain, and you are to render this service. I have given the service of the priesthood as a gift to you, and any unauthorized person who approaches should be put to death." Jehovah spoke further to Aaron, "I myself put you in charge of the contributions made to me. I have given to you and to your sons a portion of all the holy things contributed by the Israelites as a permanent allowance. This will be yours out of the most holy offerings made by fire. Every offering they make, including their grain offerings and their sin offerings and their guilt offerings that they bring to me. It is something most holy for you and for your sons. In a most holy place you should eat it. Every male may eat it, It will be something holy to you. This also belongs to you, the gifts they contribute together with all the wave offerings of the Israelites. I have given them to you and your sons and your daughters with you as a permanent allowance. Everyone clean in your house may eat it. All the best of the oil and all the best of the new wine and the grain, their first fruits, which they give to Jehovah, I give them to you. The first ripe fruits of everything from their land, which they will bring to Jehovah, will become yours. Everyone clean in your house may eat it. Every devoted thing in Israel should become yours. Every firstborn of all living things, which they will present to Jehovah, whether man or animal, should become yours. However, you should without fail redeem the firstborn of mankind, and the firstborn of the unclean animals you should redeem. You should redeem it with the redemption price when it is a month old and up, by the estimated value of 5 silver shekels, according to the standard shekel of the holy place. It is 20 gerahs. Only the firstborn bull, or firstborn male lamb, or firstborn goat you should not redeem. They are something holy. You should sprinkle their blood on the altar, and their fat you should make smoke as an offering made by fire for a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. And their flesh should become yours. Like the breast of the wave offering, and like the right leg, it should become yours. All the holy contributions that the Israelites will contribute to Jehovah, I have given to you and your sons and your daughters with you as a permanent allowance. It is a lasting covenant of salt before Jehovah, for you and your offspring with you. Jehovah went on to say to Aaron, In their land you will not have an inheritance, and no portion of land among them will become yours. I am your portion and your inheritance in the midst of the Israelites. Now see that I have given to the sons of Levi every 10th part in Israel, as an inheritance in return for the service they are carrying out, the service of the tent of meeting. No longer may the people of Israel approach the tent of meeting, or else they will incur sin and die. The Levites themselves are to carry out the service of the tent of meeting, and they are the ones who will answer for their error. It is a lasting statute during all your generations that they should not take possession of an inheritance among the Israelites. For I have given to the Levites as an inheritance the 10th part contributed by the people of Israel, which they will contribute to Jehovah. That is why I have said to them, In the midst of the Israelites they should not take possession of an inheritance. Then Jehovah said to Moses, You should tell the Levites, You will receive from the Israelites the 10th part that I have given to you from them for your inheritance, and you should contribute from it a 10th part of the 10th part as a contribution to Jehovah. And it will be considered your contribution, as though it were the grain of the threshing floor, or the full production of the winepress or oil press. In this way you will also give a contribution to Jehovah from all the 10th parts that you receive from the Israelites, and from them you are to give the contribution for Jehovah to Aaron the priest. You will make every sort of contribution to Jehovah from the very best of all the gifts given to you as something holy. And you must say to them, When you contribute the best of them, then it will be considered for the Levites as the produce of the threshing floor and as the produce of the winepress or oil press. You and your household may eat it in any place, because it is your wages in return for your service at the tent of meeting. You will not incur sin in this as long as you contribute the best from them, and you must not profane the holy things of the Israelites, or you will die. Chapter 19. Jehovah spoke again to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is a statute of the law that Jehovah has commanded. Tell the Israelites that they should take for you a sound red cow, in which there is no defect, and upon which no yoke has come. You are to give it to Eleazar the priest, and he will lead it outside the camp, and it will be slaughtered before him. Then Eleazar the priest will take some of its blood with his finger and spatter its blood 7 times straight toward the front of the tent of meeting. The cow will then be burned before his eyes. Its skin and its flesh and its blood, together with its dung, will be burned. And the priest will take cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet material, and throw them into the fire where the cow is being burned. The priest will then wash his garments, and bathe himself in water, and afterward he may come into the camp, but the priest will be unclean until the evening. The one who burned the cow will wash his garments in water, and bathe himself in water, and he will be unclean until the evening. A clean man will gather up the ashes of the cow and deposit them outside the camp in a clean place, and they should be kept by the assembly of the Israelites to prepare water that will be used for cleansing. It is a sin offering. The one gathering the ashes of the cow will wash his garments and be unclean until the evening. This will serve the Israelites and the foreigner who is residing in their midst as a lasting statute. Anyone touching any dead person will be unclean for 7 days. Such one should purify himself with the water on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he will be clean. But if he does not purify himself on the 3rd day, on the 7th day he will not be clean. Everyone who touches the corpse of any dead person and does not purify himself has defiled Jehovah's tabernacle, and that person must be cut off from Israel. Because the water for cleansing has not been sprinkled on him, he continues unclean. His uncleanness remains upon him. This is the law that applies when a man dies in a tent. Everyone who enters the tent, and everyone who was already in the tent, will be unclean for 7 days. Every open container with no lid tied on it is unclean. Everyone in the open field who touches someone killed with the sword, or a corpse, or the bone of a man, or a burial place, will be unclean for 7 days. They should take for the unclean one some of the ashes of the sin offering that was burned, and pour running water on them in a container. Then a clean man will take hyssop and dip it into the water, and spatter it on the tent, and on all the containers, and on the people who were there, and on the one who touched the bone, or the slain one, or the corpse, or the burial place. The clean person will spatter it on the unclean one on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, and he will purify him from sin on the 7th day. Then he should wash his garments and bathe in water, and he will become clean in the evening. But the man who is unclean and who will not purify himself, that person must be cut off from the congregation, because he has defiled Jehovah's sanctuary. The water for cleansing was not sprinkled on him, so he is unclean. This will serve as a lasting statute for them. The one spattering the water for cleansing should wash his garments, and the one touching the water for cleansing will be unclean until the evening. Anything the unclean one touches will be unclean, and the person who touches it will be unclean until the evening. Chapter 20. In the 1st month, the entire assembly of the Israelites came into the wilderness of Zin, and the people began dwelling in Kadesh. It was there that Miriam died and was buried. Now there was no water for the assembly, and they gathered together against Moses and Aaron. The people were quarreling with Moses, saying,
"If only we had died when our brothers died before Jehovah."
Why have you brought Jehovah's congregation into this wilderness for us and our livestock to die here? And why have you led us up out of Egypt to bring us into this evil place? It is no place for seed and figs and vines and pomegranates, and there is no water to drink.
Then Moses and Aaron came from before the congregation to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and fell with their faces to the ground, and Jehovah's glory began to appear to them. Then Jehovah said to Moses, "Take the rod and call the assembly together, you and Aaron your brother, and speak to the crag before their eyes, that it may give its water. And you will bring out water for them from the crag, and give the assembly and their livestock something to drink." So Moses took the rod from before Jehovah, just as he had commanded him. Then Moses and Aaron called the congregation together before the crag, and he said to them, "Hear now, you rebels! Must we bring out water for you from this crag?" With that Moses lifted his hand up and struck the crag twice with his rod, and much water began to pour out, and the assembly and their livestock began to drink. Jehovah later said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not show faith in me and sanctify me before the eyes of the people of Israel, you will not bring this congregation into the land that I will give them." These are the waters of Meribah, where the Israelites quarreled with Jehovah, so that he was sanctified among them. Then Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom.
"This is what your brother Israel says. You well know all the hardship that we have experienced. Our fathers went to Egypt, and we dwelled in Egypt many years, and the Egyptians mistreated us and our fathers. Finally, we cried out to Jehovah, and he heard us and sent an angel and brought us out of Egypt. And here we are in Kadesh, a city on the border of your territory."
Please, let us pass through your land. We will not pass through any field or vineyard, and we will not drink the water of any well. We will march on the king's road without turning to the right or the left until we pass through your territory.
However, Edom said to him,
"You may not pass through our territory. If you do, I will come out with the sword to meet you."
In turn, the Israelites said to him,
"By the highway we will go up, and if we and our livestock drink your water, we will pay for it."
We want nothing more than to pass through on foot.
Still, he said,
"You may not pass through."
With that, Edom came out to encounter him with many people and a strong army. So Edom refused to allow Israel to pass through his territory. Therefore, Israel turned away from him. The people of Israel, the entire assembly, departed from Kadesh and came to Mount Hor. Then Jehovah said to Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor, by the border of the land of Edom, "Aaron will be gathered to his people. He will not enter the land that I will give to the Israelites, because you both rebelled against my order regarding the waters of Meribah. Take Aaron and his son Eleazar, and bring them up into Mount Hor. Remove Aaron's garments, and clothe Eleazar his son with them, and Aaron will die there." So Moses did just as Jehovah had commanded, and they climbed Mount Hor before the eyes of all the assembly. Then Moses removed Aaron's garments, and clothed Eleazar his son with them. After that Aaron died there on the top of the mountain. And Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. When all the assembly saw that Aaron had died, the entire house of Israel wept for Aaron for 30 days. Chapter 21. When the Canaanite king of Arad, who dwelled in the Negeb, heard that Israel had come by the way of Atharim, he attacked Israel and carried away some of them as captives. So Israel made this vow to Jehovah:
"If you give this people into my hand, I will without fail devote their cities to destruction."
So Jehovah listened to Israel's voice and gave the Canaanites over to them, and they devoted them and their cities to destruction. Therefore they named the place Hormah. As they continued their journey from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea, in order to go around the land of Edom, the people became weary of the journey. And the people kept speaking against God and Moses, saying,
"Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? There is no food and no water, and we have come to hate this contemptible bread."
So Jehovah sent poisonous serpents among the people, and they kept biting the people, so that many Israelites died. So the people came to Moses and said,
"We have sinned by speaking against Jehovah and against you.
Intercede with Jehovah so that he may remove the serpents from us.
And Moses interceded on behalf of the people. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Make a replica of a poisonous snake and put it on a pole. Then, when anyone has been bitten, he will have to look at it in order to keep alive. Moses at once made a serpent of copper and put it on the pole, and whenever a serpent had bitten a man, and he looked at the copper serpent, he survived. After that the Israelites departed and camped in Oboth. Then they departed from Oboth and camped in Abarim, in the wilderness that faces Moab, toward the east. From there they departed and camped by the valley of Zered. From there they departed and camped in the region of the Arnon, which is in the wilderness that extends from the border of the Amorites. For the Arnon is the boundary of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. That is why the book of the Wars of Jehovah speaks of Vaheb in Suphah, and the valleys of Arnon, and the descent of the valleys, which extends toward the settlement of Ar, and adjoins the border of Moab. Next they went on to Beer. This is the well about which Jehovah said to Moses, Gather the people, and let me give them water. At that time Israel sang this song.
Spring up, O well, respond to it, the well that princes dug, that nobles of the people excavated, with a commander's staff, and with their own staffs.
Then they went from the wilderness on to Mattanah, from Mattanah on to Nahaliel, and from Nahaliel on to Bamoth. They went from Bamoth on to the valley that is in the territory of Moab, on top of Pisgah, which overlooks Jeshimon. Israel now sent messengers to Sihon, the king of the Amorites, saying,
Let us pass through your land. We will not turn aside into a field or a vineyard. We will not drink water from any well. We will march on the king's road until we pass through your territory.
But Sihon did not allow Israel to pass through his territory. Instead, Sihon gathered all his people and went out against Israel in the wilderness, and came to Jahaz, and began fighting with Israel. But Israel defeated him with the sword, and took possession of his land, from the Arnon to the Jabbok, near the Ammonites, because Jazer borders the territory of the Ammonites. So Israel took all these cities, and they began dwelling in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon and all its dependent towns. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought with the king of Moab, and taken all his land from him as far as the Arnon. That is what gave rise to the taunting proverbial saying, Come to Heshbon. Let the city of Sihon be built and firmly established. For a fire came out of Heshbon, a flame from the town of Sihon. It has consumed Ar of Moab, the lords of the high places of the Arnon. Woe to you, Moab! You will be destroyed, O people of Chemosh. He makes his sons fugitives, and his daughters captives of Sihon, the king of the Amorites. Let us shoot at them. Heshbon will be destroyed as far as Dibon. Let us desolate it as far as Nophah. Fire will spread as far as Medeba. So Israel began to dwell in the land of the Amorites. Moses then sent some men to spy on Jazer. They captured its dependent towns and drove out the Amorites who were there. After that they turned and went up by the way of Bashan. And Og the king of Bashan came out with all his people to meet them in battle at Edrei. Jehovah said to Moses, Do not be afraid of him, for I will give him and all his people and his land into your hand, and you will do to him just as you did to Sihon the king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon. So they kept striking him down, along with his sons and all his people, until none of his people survived, and they took possession of his land. Chapter 22. Then the Israelites departed and camped on the desert plains of Moab, across the Jordan from Jericho. Now Balak, the son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, and Moab became very frightened of the people, because they were so many. Indeed, Moab felt sick with fear because of the Israelites. So Moab said to the elders of Midian,
"Now this congregation will devour all our surroundings, just as a bull devours the grass in the field."
Balak, the son of Zippor, was king of Moab at that time. He sent messengers to Balaam, the son of Beor, at Pethor, which is by the river in his native land. He summoned him, saying,
"Look, our people has come out of Egypt. Look, they have covered the face of the earth, and they are dwelling right in front of me. Now please, come and curse this people for me, for they are mightier than I am. Perhaps I can defeat them and drive them out of the land, for I well know that the one whom you bless is blessed, and the one whom you curse is cursed."
So the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian traveled with the fee for divination in their hands and went to Balaam and conveyed to him Balak's message. At that he said to them,
"Spend the night here, and I will bring back to you whatever word Jehovah speaks to me."
So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Then God came to Balaam and said, "Who are these men with you?" Balaam said to the true God,
"Balak, the son of Zippor, the king of Moab, has sent me a message, saying, 'Look, the people who are coming out of Egypt are covering the face of the earth. Now come and put a curse on them for me. Perhaps I may be able to fight against them and drive them out.'"
But God said to Balaam, "You must not go with them. You must not curse the people, for they are blessed." Balaam got up in the morning and said to the princes of Balak,
"Go to your land, for Jehovah has refused to let me go with you."
So the princes of Moab departed and returned to Balak and said,
"Balaam has refused to come with us."
However, Balak again sent princes, more numerous and more distinguished than the first group. They came to Balaam and said to him,
"This is what Balak, the son of Zippor, has said. Please do not let anything hinder you from coming to me, for I will honor you greatly, and I will do anything you tell me to do. So come, please, and curse this people for me."
But Balaam answered the servants of Balak,
"If Balak were to give me his own house full of silver and gold, I could not do anything beyond the order of Jehovah my God, whether small or great. But please stay here tonight also, so that I may learn what else Jehovah will tell me."
Then God came to Balaam by night and said to him, "If these men have come to summon you, go along with them, but you may speak only the words that I tell you to say." So Balaam got up in the morning and saddled his donkey and went with the princes of Moab. But God's anger blazed because he was going, and Jehovah's angel stationed himself in the road to resist him. Now Balaam was riding on his donkey, and two of his attendants were with him. And when the donkey saw Jehovah's angel standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand, it tried to turn off the road into the field. But Balaam began to beat the donkey to make it return to the road. Then Jehovah's angel stood in a narrow path between two vineyards, with stone walls on both sides. When the donkey saw Jehovah's angel, it began to squeeze itself against the wall, and it jammed Balaam's foot against the wall, and Balaam began beating it again. Jehovah's angel now passed by again, and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn to the right or to the left. When the donkey saw Jehovah's angel, it lay down under Balaam. So Balaam became furious and kept beating the donkey with his staff. Finally Jehovah caused the donkey to speak, and it said to Balaam,
"What have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times?"
Balaam replied to the donkey,
"It is because you have made a fool of me. If only I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you."
Then the donkey said to Balaam,
Am I not your donkey that you have ridden on all your life until today? Have I ever treated you this way before?
He replied,
No.
Then Jehovah uncovered Balaam's eyes, and he saw Jehovah's angel standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand. At once he bowed low and prostrated himself on his face. Then Jehovah's angel said to him,
Why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? Look, I myself came out to offer resistance, because your way is in defiance of my will. The donkey saw me and tried to turn away from me these 3 times. Supposing it had not turned away from me, by now I would have killed you and let the donkey live.
Balaam said to Jehovah's angel,
I have sinned, because I did not know that it was you standing in the road to meet me. And now, if it is bad in your eyes, I will go back.
But Jehovah's angel said to Balaam,
Go with the men, but you may speak only the words that I tell you.
So Balaam continued going with the princes of Balak. When Balak heard that Balaam had come, he immediately went out to meet him at the city of Moab, which is on the bank of the Arnon, on the border of the territory. Balak said to Balaam,
Did I not send for you? Why did you not come to me? Did you think I am not able to honor you greatly?
Balaam replied to Balak,
Well, I have come to you now, but will I be allowed to say anything? I can only speak words that God puts in my mouth.
So Balaam went with Balak, and they came to Kiriath-Huzoth. Balak sacrificed cattle and sheep, and sent some to Balaam and the princes who were with him. In the morning, Balak took Balaam and brought him up to Bamoth Baal. From there he could see all the people. Chapter 23. Then Balaam said to Balak,
Build on this spot 7 altars, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me.
Balak immediately did just as Balaam had said, and Balak and Balaam offered up a bull and a ram on each altar. Balaam then said to Balak,
Stay here by your burnt offering, and I will go. Perhaps Jehovah will get in touch with me. Whatever he reveals to me, I will tell you.
So he went to a barren hill. Then God got in touch with Balaam, who said to him,
I set the 7 altars in rows, and I offered up a bull and a ram on each altar.
Jehovah put this word in the mouth of Balaam, Return to Balak, and this is what you are to say. So he returned, and saw that Balak and all the princes of Moab were standing by his burnt offering. Then he spoke this proverbial saying,
Balak, the king of Moab, has brought me from Aram, from the mountains of the east. Do come to curse Jacob for me. Yes, come to denounce Israel. How could I put a curse on those whom God has not cursed? And how could I denounce those whom Jehovah has not denounced? From the top of the rocks I see them, and from the hills I see them. As a people, they dwell there alone. They do not count themselves among the nations. Who can number the dust particles of Jacob, or count even the 4th part of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright, and let my end be like theirs.
Balak then said to Balaam,
What have you done to me? I brought you to put a curse on my enemies, and here you have done nothing but bless them.
He answered,
Must I not speak whatever Jehovah puts in my mouth?
Balak said to him,
Please, come with me to another place from which you can see them. You will see only a part of them. You will not see them all. Put a curse on them for me from there.
So he took him to the field of Zophim, to the top of Pisgah, and built 7 altars, and offered up a bull and a ram on each altar. So Balaam said to Balak,
Stay here by your burnt offering, while I get in touch with him over there.
And Jehovah got in touch with Balaam, and put this word in his mouth, Return to Balak, and this is what you are to say." So he came to him, and saw that he was waiting by his burnt offering, and the princes of Moab were with him. Balak asked him,
"What has Jehovah said?"
Then he spoke this proverbial saying,
"Get up, Balak, and listen. Hear me, O son of Zippor. God is not a mere man who tells lies, nor a son of man who changes his mind. When he says something, will he not do it? When he speaks, will he not carry it out? Look, I have been taken to bless. Now he has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. He does not tolerate any magical power against Jacob, and he does not allow any trouble against Israel. Jehovah his God is with them, and he is loudly hailed as king among them. God is bringing them out of Egypt. He is like the horns of a wild bull for them. For there are no omens of doom against Jacob, nor any divination against Israel. At this time it may be said about Jacob and Israel, look at what God has done. Here is a people who will rise up like a lion, and like the lion, it will raise itself up. It will not lie down until it eats prey and drinks the blood of the slain ones."
Balak then said to Balaam,
"If on the one hand you cannot put any curse on him, then on the other hand you should not bless him either."
Balaam answered Balak,
"Did I not say to you, I will do all that Jehovah says?"
Balak said to Balaam,
"Please, come and let me take you to yet another place. Perhaps it will be right in the eyes of the true God for you to put a curse on him for me from there."
So Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor, which looks toward Jeshimon. Then Balaam said to Balak,
"Build 7 altars on this spot, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me."
So Balak did just as Balaam had said, and he offered up a bull and a ram on each altar. Chapter 24. When Balaam saw that it pleased Jehovah to bless Israel, he did not go away again to search for omens of doom, but he turned his face to the wilderness. When Balaam raised his eyes and saw Israel encamped by his tribes, then the Spirit of God came upon him. He then spoke this proverbial saying,
"The saying of Balaam, the son of Beor, and the saying of a man whose eyes have been opened, the saying of the one hearing the word of God, who saw a vision of the Almighty, who has bowed down with his eyes uncovered. How beautiful are your tents, O Jacob, your tabernacles, O Israel. Like the valleys, they have extended a long way, like gardens by the river, like aloes that Jehovah has planted, like cedars by the waters. Water keeps trickling from his 2 leather buckets, and his seed is sown by many waters. His king also will be greater than Agag, and his kingdom will be exalted. God is bringing him out of Egypt. He is like the horns of a wild bull for them. He will consume the nations, his oppressors, and their bones he will gnaw, and he will shatter them with his arrows. He has crouched down. He has lain down like the lion, and like a lion, who dares rouse him? Those blessing you are blessed, and those cursing you are cursed."
Then Balak became furious with Balaam. Balak scornfully clapped his hands together and said to Balaam,
"It was to put a curse on my enemies that I called you, but now you have done nothing but bless them these 3 times. Now go home immediately. I intended to honor you greatly, but look, Jehovah has deprived you of honor."
Balaam replied to Balak,
"Did I not say to the messengers you sent, if Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not of my own will do anything beyond the order of Jehovah, whether good or bad. I will only speak what Jehovah will tell me. And now I am going away to my people. Come and let me advise you what this people will do to your people in the future."
So he spoke this proverbial saying,
the saying of Balaam the son of Beor, and the saying of a man whose eyes have been opened, the saying of the one hearing the word of God, and the one having the knowledge of the Most High, a vision of the Almighty he saw, while bowing down with his eyes uncovered. I will see him, but not now. I will behold him, but not soon. A star will come out of Jacob, and a scepter will rise out of Israel. And he will certainly break apart the forehead of Moab, and the skull of all the sons of tumult. And Edom will become a possession, yes, Seir the possession of his enemies, while Israel is displaying his courage. And out of Jacob one will be subduing, and he will destroy any survivor from the city.
When he saw Amalek, he continued his proverbial saying,
Amalek was the first of the nations, but in the end he will perish.
When he saw the Kenites, he continued his proverbial saying,
Secure is your dwelling, and set on the crag is your abode. But someone will burn Cain down. How long before Assyria carries you away captive?
And he continued his proverbial saying,
Woe! Who will survive when God does this? Ships will come from the coast of Kittim, and they will afflict Assyria, and they will afflict Eber, but he too will utterly perish.
Then Balaam got up and went, and returned to his place. Balak also went his own way. Chapter 25. When Israel was dwelling in Shittim, the people started to commit sexual immorality with the daughters of Moab. The women invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, and the people began to eat and to bow down to their gods. So Israel joined in worship of the Baal of Peor, and Jehovah became enraged with Israel. Jehovah said to Moses, Take all the leaders of these people and hang them up before Jehovah in broad daylight, that the burning anger of Jehovah may turn back from Israel. Then Moses said to the judges of Israel, Each one of you should kill his men who joined in worship of the Baal of Peor. But just then there came one of the Israelites, bringing near to his brothers a Midianite woman, before the eyes of Moses and of all the assembly of the Israelites, while they were weeping at the entrance of the tent of meeting. When Phinehas the son of Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest saw it, he immediately rose up from the midst of the assembly and took a spear in his hand. Then he went after the man of Israel into the tent and pierced both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her genital parts. At that the scourge on the Israelites was halted. Those who died from the scourge amounted to 24,000. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Phinehas the son of Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest has turned my wrath away from the people of Israel, because he tolerated no rivalry at all toward me among them. So I have not exterminated the Israelites in my insistence on exclusive devotion. Therefore say, I am giving him my covenant of peace, and it will serve as the covenant of a lasting priesthood for him and his offspring after him, because he tolerated no rivalry toward his God, and he made atonement for the people of Israel. Incidentally, the name of the Israelite man who was put to death along with the Midianites was Zimri, the son of Salu, a chieftain of a paternal house of the Simeonites. The name of the Midianite woman who was put to death was Cozbi, the daughter of Zur. He was a leader of the clans of a paternal house in Midian. Jehovah later said to Moses, Harass the Midianites and strike them down, because they have been harassing you with their cunning dealings against you in the affair of Peor, and of Cozbi, the daughter of a chieftain of Midian, their sister, who was put to death in the day of the scourge over the affair of Peor. Chapter 26. After the scourge, Jehovah said to Moses and Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, Take a census of the whole assembly of the Israelites, from 20 years of age and up, by their paternal houses, counting all those who can serve in the army in Israel. So Moses and Eleazar the priest spoke with them in the desert plains of Moab, by the Jordan at Jericho, saying,
Take a census of them from the age of 20 years and up, just as Jehovah commanded Moses.
Now the sons of Israel who went out of the land of Egypt were Reuben, Israel's firstborn. Reuben's sons were of Hanok, the family of the Hanokites, of Palu, the family of the Paluites, of Hezron, the family of the Hezronites, of Carmi, the family of the Carmites. These were the families of the Reubenites, and the registered ones amounted to 43,730. The son of Palu was Eliab, and the sons of Eliab were Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. This Dathan and Abiram were chosen ones of the assembly, who fought against Moses and Aaron, along with Korah's group, when they fought against Jehovah. Then the earth opened and swallowed them up. As for Korah, he died with his supporters when the fire consumed 250 men, and they became a warning example. However, the sons of Korah did not die. The sons of Simeon by their families were of Nemuel, the family of the Nemuelites, of Jamin, the family of the Jaminites, of Jachin, the family of the Jachinites, of Zerah, the family of the Zerahites, of Shael, the family of the Shaeulites. These were the families of the Simeonites, 22,200. The sons of Gad by their families were of Zephon, the family of the Zephonites, of Haggai, the family of the Haggites, of Shunai, the family of the Shunites, of Ozni, the family of the Oznites, of Eri, the family of the Erites, of Arod, the family of the Arodites, of Areli, the family of the Arelites. These were the families of the sons of Gad, and the registered ones were 40,500. The sons of Judah were and Onan. However, and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Judah by their families were of Shelah, the family of the Shelanites, of Perez, the family of the Perizzites, of Zerah, the family of the Zerahites. And the sons of Perez were of Hezron, the family of the Hezronites, of Hamul, the family of the Hamulites. These were the families of Judah, and the registered ones were 76,500. The sons of Issachar by their families were of Tola, the family of the Tolaites, of Puvah, the family of the Punites, of Jashub, the family of the Jashubites, of Shimron, the family of the Shimronites. These were the families of Issachar, and the registered ones were 64,300. The sons of Zebulun by their families were of Sered, the family of the Seredites, of Elon, the family of the Elonites, of Jaliel, the family of the Jalielites. These were the families of the Zebulunites, and the registered ones were 60,500. The sons of Joseph by their families were Manasseh and Ephraim. The sons of Manasseh were of Machir, the family of the Machirites, and Machir became father to Gilead. Of Gilead, the family of the Gileadites. These were the sons of Gilead. Of Iezer, the family of the Iezerites. Of Helek, the family of the Helekites. Of Azriel, the family of the Azraelites. Of Shechem, the family of the Shechemites. Of Shemida, the family of the Shemidaites. Of Hepher, the family of the Hepherites. Now Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, had no sons, only daughters, and the names of the daughters of Zelophehad were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. These were the families of Manasseh, and the registered ones were 52,700. These were the sons of Ephraim by their families. Of Shuthelah, the family of the Shuthelahites. Of Becher, the family of the Becherites. Of Tahan, the family of the Tahanites. And these were the sons of Shuthelah. Of Eran, the family of the Eranites. These were the families of the sons of Ephraim, and the registered ones were 32,500. These were the sons of Joseph by their families. The sons of Benjamin by their families were of Bela, the family of the Belaites, of Ashbel, the family of the Ashbelites, of Ahiram, the family of the Ahiramites, of Shephupham, the family of the Shuphamites, of Hupham, the family of the Huphamites. The sons of Bela were Ard and Naaman. Of Ard, the family of the Ardites. Of Naaman, the family of the Naamites. These were the sons of Benjamin by their families, and the registered ones were 45,600. These were the sons of Dan by their families. Of Shuham, the family of the Shuhamites. These were the families of Dan by their families. All the families of the Shuhamites, of their registered ones, were 64,400. The sons of Asher by their families were of Imnah, the family of the Imnites, of Ishvi, the family of the Ishvites, of Beriah, the family of the Beriites, of the sons of Beriah, of Heber, the family of the Heberites, of Malchiel, the family of the Malchielites. The name of Asher's daughter was Serah. These were the families of the sons of Asher, and the registered ones were 53,400. The sons of Naphtali by their families were of Jaziel, the family of the Jazielites, of Gunai, the family of the Gunites, of Jezer, the family of the Jezerites, of Shillem, the family of the Shillemites. These were the families of Naphtali by their families, and their registered ones were 45,400. This is the total of those registered of the Israelites, 601,730. After that Jehovah said to Moses, "Among these the land should be divided as an inheritance, according to the list of the names. For the larger groups you should increase the inheritance, and for the smaller groups you should reduce the inheritance. Each group's inheritance should be given in proportion to the number of those registered. However, the land should be apportioned by lot. They should receive their inheritance according to the names of the tribes of their fathers. Each inheritance will be determined by lot and apportioned among the larger and the smaller groups." Now these were the registered ones of the Levites by their families. Of Gershon, the family of the Gershonites. Of Kohath, the family of the Kohathites. Of Merari, the family of the Merarites. These were the families of the Levites. The family of the Libnites, the family of the Hebronites, the family of the Mahlites, the family of the Mushites, the family of the Korahites. Kohath became father to Amram, and the name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, Levi's daughter, whom his wife bore to Levi in Egypt. And to Amram she bore Aaron and Moses and their sister Miriam. Then to Aaron there were born Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died for presenting unauthorized fire before Jehovah. The total of those registered was 23,000, all males from a month old and up. For they were not registered among the Israelites, because no inheritance was to be given to them among the Israelites. These were the ones registered by Moses and Eleazar the priest when they registered the Israelites in the desert plains of Moab, by the Jordan, at Jericho. But among them There was no one who had been registered by Moses and Aaron the priest in the census of the Israelites taken in the wilderness of Sinai. For Jehovah had said concerning them, "They will die without fail in the wilderness." So there was not a man left of them, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. Chapter 27. Then the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh the son of Joseph, approached. The names of his daughters were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They stood before Moses, Eleazar the priest, the chieftains, and all the assembly at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and said,
"Our father died in the wilderness, but he was not among the group who banded together against Jehovah, the supporters of Korah. But he died for his own sin, and he did not have any sons.
Why should the name of our father be lost from his family because he had no son? Give us a possession among our father's brothers."
So Moses presented their case before Jehovah. Jehovah then said this to Moses, "The daughters of Zelophehad are correct. You should by all means give them the possession as an inheritance among their father's brothers, and transfer their father's inheritance to them. And tell the Israelites, if a man dies without having a son, you must then cause his inheritance to pass to his daughter. And if he has no daughter, you will give his inheritance to his brothers. And if he has no brothers, you will give his inheritance to his father's brothers. And if his father has no brothers, you will give his inheritance to the closest blood relative in his family, and he will take possession of it. This will serve as a statute by judicial decision for the Israelites, just as Jehovah has commanded Moses." Then Jehovah said to Moses, "Go up into this mountain of Abarim, and view the land that I will give the Israelites. When you have seen it, you will also be gathered to your people, just as Aaron your brother was. Because when the assembly was quarreling with me in the wilderness of Zin, you rebelled against my order to sanctify me before them by means of the waters. These are the waters of Meribah at Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin." Then Moses said to Jehovah, "Let Jehovah, the God of the spirit of all people, appoint over the assembly a man who will go out and come in before them, and who will lead them out and bring them in, so that Jehovah's assembly may not become like sheep that have no shepherd." So Jehovah said to Moses, "Take Joshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom there is spirit, and lay your hand on him. Then stand him before Eleazar the priest and before all the assembly, and you must commission him before their eyes. You are to confer some of your authority on him, so that all the assembly of the Israelites may listen to him. He will stand before Eleazar the priest, who will inquire in his behalf by the judgment of the Urim before Jehovah. At his order they will go out, and at his order they will come in, he and all the Israelites with him, and all the assembly." So Moses did just as Jehovah had commanded him. He took Joshua and stood him before Eleazar the priest and before all the assembly, and he laid his hands on him and commissioned him, just as Jehovah had spoken through Moses. Chapter 28. Jehovah next said to Moses, "Command the Israelites and tell them, you should take care that you present to me my offering, my bread. My offerings by fire as a pleasing aroma to me must be made at their appointed times. And say to them, this is the offering made by fire that you will present to Jehovah. 2 sound-year-old male lambs a day as a burnt offering regularly. The one male lamb you will offer in the morning, and the other male lamb you will offer at twilight, together with 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of beaten oil, as a grain offering. It is a regular burnt offering, which was established at Mount Sinai as a pleasing aroma, an offering made by fire to Jehovah, along with its drink offering, 1/4 of a hin for each male lamb. Pour out the alcoholic drink in the holy place as a drink offering to Jehovah. And you will offer the other male lamb at twilight, with the same grain offering as that made in the morning, and with its same drink offering. You will present it as an offering made by fire, as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. However, on the Sabbath day, the offering should be 2 sound year-old male lambs and 2/10 of an ephah measure of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, together with its drink offering. This is the burnt offering for the Sabbath, along with the regular burnt offering and its drink offering. At the start of each month, you will present as a burnt offering to Jehovah 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 sound male lambs, each a year old, and 3/10 measures of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering for each bull, and 2/10 measures of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering for the 1 ram, and 1/10 measure of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering for each male lamb, as a burnt offering, a pleasing aroma, an offering made by fire to Jehovah. And their drink offerings should be 1/2 a hin of wine for a bull, and 1/3 of a hin for the ram, and 1/4 of a hin for a male lamb. This is the monthly burnt offering each month throughout the year. Also, 1 young goat should be offered as a sin offering to Jehovah, in addition to the regular burnt offering, together with its drink offering. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, will be Jehovah's Passover. And on the 15th day of this month, there will be a festival. Unleavened bread will be eaten for 7 days. On the first day there will be a holy convention. You must not do any hard work. And you will present as a burnt offering made by fire to Jehovah 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs, each a year old. You should offer sound animals. You should offer them with their grain offerings of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 measures for a bull, and 2/10 measures for the ram. You will offer 1/10 measure respectively for each male lamb of the 7 male lambs, as well as 1 goat as a sin offering, to make atonement for you. Aside from the morning burnt offering, which is for the regular burnt offering, you will offer these. You will offer these in the same manner each day for 7 days as food, an offering made by fire, as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. It should be offered along with the regular burnt offering and its drink offering. On the 7th day, you should hold a holy convention. You must not do any hard work. On the day of the first ripe fruits, when you present a new grain offering to Jehovah, you should hold a holy convention in your Feast of Weeks. You must not do any hard work. You will present as a burnt offering for a pleasing aroma to Jehovah 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs, each a year old, and as their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 measures for each bull, 2/10 measures for the 1 ram, 1/10 measure respectively for each male lamb of the 7 male lambs, as well as 1 young goat to make atonement for you. You will offer them in addition to the regular burnt offering and its grain offering. They should be sound animals, along with their drink offerings. Chapter 29. And in the 7th month, on the 1st of the month, you should hold a holy convention. You must not do any hard work. It is a day on which you should sound the trumpet. You will offer as a burnt offering for a pleasing aroma to Jehovah 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs, each a year old, all of them sound, and their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah measure for the bull, 2/10 measures for the ram, and 1/10 measure for each male lamb of the 7 male lambs, and 1 young male goat as a sin offering to make atonement for you. This is in addition to the monthly burnt offering and its grain offering, and the regular burnt offering and its grain offering, together with their drink offerings, according to the regular procedure for them, as a pleasing aroma, an offering made by fire to Jehovah. And on the 10th of this 7th month, you should hold a holy convention, and you must afflict yourselves. You must not do any work. And you will present as a burnt offering to Jehovah, as a pleasing aroma, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs, each a year old, all of them sound. And as their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 measures for the bull, 2/10 measures for the 1 ram, a 10th measure respectively for each male lamb of the 7 male lambs, as well as 1 young goat as a sin offering, aside from the sin offering of atonement, and the regular burnt offering and its grain offering, together with their drink offerings. And on the 15th day of the 7th month, you should hold a holy convention. You must not do any hard work, and you must celebrate a festival to Jehovah 7 days. And you will present as a burnt offering, an offering made by fire as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah, 13 young bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs, each a year old, all of them sound. And as their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 measures for each bull of the 13 bulls, 2/10 measures for each ram of the 2 rams, and a 10th measure for each male lamb of the 14 male lambs, as well as 1 young goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. And on the 2nd day, 12 young bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs, each a year old, all of them sound, and their grain offering and their drink offerings, for the bulls, the rams, and the male lambs by their number according to the regular procedure, as well as 1 young goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular burnt offering and its grain offering, together with their drink offerings. And on the 3rd day, 11 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs, each a year old, all of them sound, and their grain offering and their drink offerings, for the bulls, the rams, and the male lambs by their number, according to the regular procedure, as well as 1 goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular burnt offering and its grain offering and its drink offering. And on the 4th day, 10 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs, each a year old, all of them sound, their grain offering and their drink offerings for the bulls, the rams, and the male lambs by their number, according to the regular procedure, as well as 1 young goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. And on the 5th day, 9 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs, each a year old, all of them sound, and their grain offering and their drink offerings for the bulls, the rams, and the male lambs by their number according to the regular procedure, as well as 1 goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular burnt offering and its grain offering and its drink offering. And on the 6th day, 8 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs, each a year old, all of them sound, and their grain offering and their drink offerings for the bulls, the rams, and the male lambs by their number according to the regular procedure, as well as 1 goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offerings. And on the 7th day, 7 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs, each a year old, all of them sound, and their grain offering and their drink offerings for the bulls, the rams, and the male lambs by their number according to the regular procedure for them, as well as 1 goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. On the 8th day, you should hold a solemn assembly. You should not do any hard work. You will present as a burnt offering, an offering made by fire as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah, 1 bull, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs each a year old, all of them sound, and their grain offering and their drink offerings for the bull, the ram, and the male lambs by their number, according to the regular procedure, as well as one goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular burnt offering and its grain offering and its drink offering. These you will offer to Jehovah at your seasonal festivals, in addition to your vow offerings and your voluntary offerings, as your burnt offerings and your grain offerings and your drink offerings and your communion sacrifices. Moses told the Israelites everything that Jehovah had commanded him. Chapter 30. Then Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes of Israel, saying, This is the word that Jehovah has commanded. If a man makes a vow to Jehovah, or swears an oath to impose on himself a vow of abstinence, he must not violate his word. He should do everything he vowed he would do. And if a woman makes a vow to Jehovah, or she imposes a vow of abstinence on herself when she is young and living in the house of her father, and her father hears her vow, or her abstinence vow that she has imposed on herself, and her father offers no objection, all her vows will stand, and every abstinence vow that she has imposed on herself will stand. But if her father forbids her when he hears that she has imposed vows or abstinence vows on herself, it will not stand. Jehovah will forgive her, because her father forbade her. However, if she should marry a husband while under her vow, or the rash promise that she has imposed on herself, and her husband hears of it and offers no objection on the day he hears of it, her vows or her abstinence vows that she has imposed on herself will stand. But if her husband forbids her on the day he hears of it, he may annul the vow or the rash promise that she imposed on herself, and Jehovah will forgive her. But if a widow or a divorced woman makes a vow, everything that she has imposed on herself will be binding on her. However, if a woman impose the vow or the abstinence vow on herself while in the house of her husband, and her husband heard it and has not objected or disapproved, all her vows or any abstinence vow that she imposed on herself will stand. But if on the day he heard them, her husband completely annulled whatever vows or abstinence vow she swore to, they will not stand. Her husband annulled them, and Jehovah will forgive her. Regarding any vow or any oath involving an abstinence vow to practice self-denial, her husband should establish it, or her husband should annul it. But if her husband offers no objection at all from day to day, he also establishes all her vows, or all her abstinence vows that are upon her. He establishes them because he did not object on the day he heard her make them. But if he annuls them later, sometime after the day he heard them, he will bear the consequences of her guilt. These are the regulations that Jehovah commanded Moses relating to a husband and his wife, and relating to a father and his young daughter living in his house. Chapter 31. Jehovah then told Moses, Take vengeance for the Israelites on the Midianites. Afterward you will be gathered to your people. So Moses spoke to the people, saying, Equip men from among you for battle against Midian, and to execute Jehovah's vengeance on Midian. You should send 1,000 of each tribe of all the tribes of Israel into the army. So from the thousands of Israel, 1,000 were assigned from each tribe, 12,000 equipped for battle. Then Moses sent them out, 1,000 from each tribe to the army, along with Phinehas the son of Eleazar, the priest for the army, who had the holy utensils and the signal trumpets in his hand. They waged war against Midian, just as Jehovah had commanded Moses, and they killed every male. Along with the others slain, they killed the kings of Midian, namely Evi, Rekam, Zur, Hur, and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. They also killed Balaam the son of Beor with the sword. But the Israelites carried off captive the women and children of Midian. They also plundered all their domestic animals, all their livestock, and all their possessions. And all their cities in which they had settled, and all their encampments they burned with fire. And they took all the spoil and all the plunder, both humans and animals. Then they brought the captives, the plunder, and the spoil to Moses and Eleazar the priest, and to the assembly of the Israelites, to the camp in the desert plains of Moab, near the Jordan, at Jericho. Then Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the chieftains of the assembly went out to meet them outside the camp. But Moses grew indignant at the appointed men of the combat forces, the chiefs of the thousands and the chiefs of the hundreds who were coming in from the military expedition. Moses said to them, "Have you preserved all the females alive? Look, they are the ones who by Balaam's word induced the Israelites to commit unfaithfulness toward Jehovah over the affair of Peor, so that the scourge came upon the assembly of Jehovah. Now you should kill every male among the children, and kill every woman who has had sexual relations with a man. But you may keep alive all the young girls who have not had sexual relations with a man. And you should camp outside the camp 7 days. Every one of you who has killed someone, and every one of you who has touched someone slain, should purify himself on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, you and your captives. And you should purify from sin every garment, every article of skin, everything made of goat hair, and every article of wood." Eleazar the priest then said to the men of the army who had gone into the battle,
"This is the statute of the law that Jehovah commanded Moses. Only the gold, the silver, the copper, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that can be processed with fire, you should pass through the fire, and it will be clean. However, it should also be purified by the water for cleansing. Everything that cannot be processed with fire, you should pass through the water. And you should wash your garments on the 7th day, and be clean, and then you may come into the camp."
Jehovah then said this to Moses, "Take an inventory of the plunder, counting the captives, both of humans and animals. Do this together with Eleazar the priest and the heads of the paternal houses of the assembly. Divide what was plundered into 2 parts, to be shared between those in the army who took part in the battle and all the rest of the assembly. As a tax for Jehovah, you should take from the soldiers who went out into the battle 1 soul out of every 500, of the people, the herd, the donkeys, and the flock. You should take it from their half and give it to Eleazar the priest as Jehovah's contribution. From the half given to the Israelites, you should take 1 out of 50, of the people, the herd, the donkeys, the flock, and every sort of domestic animal, and give them to the Levites, who care for the responsibilities connected with Jehovah's tabernacle." So Moses and Eleazar the priest did just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. The spoils, the rest of the plunder that the people of the expedition had taken, amounted to 675,000 of the flock, 72,000 of the herd, and 61,000 donkeys. The women who had not had sexual relations with a man amounted to 32,000 women. The half that was the share of those who went out into the battle amounted to 337,500 of the flock. The tax for Jehovah from the flock amounted to 675. And there were 36,000 of the herd, and the tax on them for Jehovah was 72. And there were 30,500 donkeys, and the tax on them for Jehovah was 61. And there were 16,000 humans, and the tax on them for Jehovah was 32 persons. Then Moses gave the tax as Jehovah's contribution to Eleazar the priest, just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. From the half belonging to the Israelites, which Moses had divided off from the portion that belonged to the men who waged war, that half of the flock amounted to 337,500, and of the herd 36,000, and of the donkeys 30,500, and of the people 16,000. Then Moses took from the half belonging to the Israelites 1 out of 50, of the people and of the animals, and gave them to the Levites, who cared for the responsibility of Jehovah's tabernacle, just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. Then the appointed men who were of the thousands of the army, the chiefs of the thousands and the chiefs of the hundreds, approached Moses, and they said to Moses,
"Your servants have taken the count of the men of war who are under our command, and not one has been reported missing from us.
So let us each present what he has found as Jehovah's offering: articles of gold, ankle chains, bracelets, signet rings, earrings, and other jewelry, in order to make atonement for ourselves before Jehovah."
So Moses and Eleazar the priest accepted the gold from them, all the jewelry. All the gold of the contribution that they made to Jehovah amounted to 16,750 shekels, from the chiefs of the thousands and the chiefs of the hundreds. The men of the army had each taken plunder for himself. Moses and Eleazar the priest accepted the gold from the chiefs of the thousands and of the hundreds, and brought it into the tent of meeting as a reminder for the people of Israel before Jehovah. Chapter 32. Now the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad had very large quantities of livestock, and they saw that the lands of Jazer and Gilead were a good region for livestock. So the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben approached Moses, Eleazar the priest, and the chieftains of the assembly, and said,
Ataroth, Dibon, Jazer, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elealeh, Sebam, Nebo, and Beon, the land that Jehovah defeated before the assembly of Israel, is a good land for livestock, and your servants have much livestock.
They continued,
If we have found favor in your eyes, let this be the land given to your servants as a possession. Do not make us cross the Jordan.
Then Moses said to the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben, Are your brothers to go to war while you yourselves keep dwelling here? Why should you discourage the people of Israel from crossing into the land that Jehovah is certain to give them? That is what your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. When they went up to the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the people of Israel from going into the land that Jehovah was to give them. Jehovah's anger blazed on that day, so that he swore, The men who came up out of Egypt, from 20 years old and up, will not see the land of which I have sworn to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because they have not followed me wholeheartedly, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, and Joshua the son of Nun, because they have followed Jehovah wholeheartedly. So Jehovah's anger blazed against Israel, and he made them wander about in the wilderness for 40 years, until all the generation that was doing evil in the eyes of Jehovah came to its end. Now here you have risen in the place of your fathers, as a brood of sinful men, who increased the burning anger of Jehovah against Israel. If you turn back from following him, he will certainly leave them again in the wilderness, and you will bring ruin to all this people. They later approached him and said,
Let us build here stone pens for our livestock and cities for our children. But we will continue ready for battle and will go before the Israelites until we have brought them to their place, while our children will dwell in the fortified cities, safe from the inhabitants of the land. We will not return to our houses until each of the Israelites has received his land as an inheritance. For we will not receive an inheritance with them on the other side of the Jordan and beyond, because we have received our inheritance on the east side of the Jordan.
Moses replied to them, If you will do this, Take up arms before Jehovah for the war. And if every one of you takes up arms and crosses the Jordan before Jehovah, as he drives away his enemies from before him, until the land is subdued before Jehovah, afterward you may return and be free from guilt before Jehovah and Israel. Then this land will become your possession before Jehovah. But if you do not do this, you will have sinned against Jehovah. In that case, know that your sin will catch up with you. So you may build cities for your children and pens for your flocks, but you must do what you have promised. The sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben said this to Moses:
Your servants will do just as my Lord is commanding. Our children, our wives, our livestock, and all our domestic animals will stay there, in the cities of Gilead. But your servants will cross over, every man armed for battle to wage war before Jehovah, just as my Lord is speaking.
So Moses gave a command concerning them to Eleazar the priest, to Joshua the son of Nun, and to the heads of the paternal houses of the tribes of Israel. Moses said to them, If the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben cross over the Jordan with you, every man armed for the war before Jehovah, and the land is subdued before you, you will then give them the land of Gilead as a possession. But if they do not take up arms and cross over with you, they will then settle among you in the land of Canaan. To this the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben answered,
What Jehovah has spoken to your servants is what we will do. We will take up arms and cross over before Jehovah to the land of Canaan. But the possession we are to inherit will be on this side of the Jordan.
So Moses gave to them, to the sons of Gad, the sons of Reuben, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh the son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, the king of Bashan, the land belonging to its cities in those territories, and the cities of the surrounding land. And the sons of Gad built Dibon, Ataroth, Aroah, Atroth-Shophan, Jazer, Jogbehah, Beth-Nimrah, and Beth-Haran, fortified cities, and they built stone pens for the flocks. And the sons of Reuben built Heshbon, Elealeh, Kiriathaim, Nebo, and Baal-Meon, their names being changed, and Sibmah, and they began to rename the cities that they rebuilt. The sons of Machir, the son of Manasseh, marched against Gilead and captured it, and drove away the Amorites who were in it. So Moses gave Gilead to Machir, the son of Manasseh, and he began dwelling in it. And Jair, the son of Manasseh, marched against them, and captured their tent villages, and he began to call them Havoth-Jair. And Nobah marched against and captured Kenath and its dependent towns, and he began to call it Nobah by his own name. Chapter 33. These were the stages of the journey of the people of Israel when they went out of the land of Egypt by their companies, under the direction of Moses and Aaron. Moses kept recording the departure places by the stages of their journey, at the order of Jehovah, and these were their stages from one departure place to another. They departed from Ramesses in the 1st month, on the 15th day of the month. On the very day after the Passover, the Israelites went out with confidence before the eyes of all the Egyptians. Meanwhile, the Egyptians were burying all the firstborn whom Jehovah had struck down among them, for Jehovah had executed judgments on their gods. So the Israelites departed from Ramesses and camped at Succoth. Then they departed from Succoth and camped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. Next they departed from Etham and turned back toward Pi-hahiroth, which is in view of Baal-zephon, and they camped before Migdol. After that they departed from Pi-hahiroth and passed through the midst of the sea to the wilderness, and kept marching a 3-day journey in the wilderness of Etham, and camped at Meirah. Then they departed from Meirah, and came to Elim. Now in Elim there were 12 springs of water, and 70 palm trees. So they camped there. Next they departed from Elim and camped by the Red Sea. After that they departed from the Red Sea and camped in the wilderness of Sin. Then they departed from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dophkah. Later they departed from Dophkah and camped at Alosh. They next departed from Alosh and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. After that they departed from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. They departed from the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kibroth-Hattaavah. Then they departed from Kibroth-Hattaavah and camped at Hazeroth. After that they departed from Hazeroth and camped at Rithmah. Next they departed from Rithmah and camped at Rimmon-Perez. Then they departed from Rimmon-Perez and camped at Libnah. They departed from Libnah and camped at Rizah. Next they departed from Rizah and camped at Keelatha. Then they departed from Keelatha and camped at Mount Shepha. After that they departed from Mount Shepha and camped at Harada. Then they departed from Harada and camped at Makheloth. Next they departed from Makheloth and camped at Tahath. After that they departed from Tahath and camped at Terah. Then they departed from Terah and camped at Mithkah. Later they departed from Mithkah and camped at Hashmonah. Next they departed from Hashmonah and camped at Moseroth. Then they departed from Moseroth and camped at Bene-Jaakan. And they departed from Bene-Jaakan and camped at Horhag-Gidgad. Next they departed from Horhag-Gidgad and camped at Jotbathah. Later they departed from Jotbathah and camped at Abrona. Then they departed from Abrona and camped at Ezion-Geber. After that they departed from Ezion-Geber and camped in the wilderness of Zin, that is, Kadesh. Later they departed from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor, on the frontier of the land of Edom. And Aaron the priest went up into Mount Hor at the order of Jehovah and died there, in the 40th year after the Israelites left the land of Egypt, in the 5th month, on the 1st of the month. Aaron was 123 years old at his death on Mount Hor. Now the king of Arad, the Canaanite who was dwelling in the Negeb in the land of Canaan, heard about the coming of the Israelites. In time they departed from Mount Hor and camped at Zalmonah. After that they departed from Zalmonah and camped at Punon. Next they departed from Punon and camped at Oboth. Then they departed from Oboth and camped at Aya-Abarim, on the border of Moab. Later they departed from Ayim and camped at Dibon-Gad. After that they departed from Dibon-Gad and camped at Almon-Diblathaim. Then they departed from Almon-Diblathaim and camped in the mountains of Abarim before Nebo. Finally they departed from the mountains of Abarim and camped on the desert plains of Moab, by the Jordan, at Jericho. They continued camping along the Jordan from Beth Jeshemoth as far as Abel-Shittim, on the desert plains of Moab. Jehovah spoke to Moses on the desert plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, you are crossing the Jordan into the land of Canaan. You must drive away all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their carvings of stone and all their metal statues, and you should demolish all their sacred high places. And you will take possession of the land and dwell in it, because I will certainly give you the land as a possession. You must apportion the land by lot as a possession among your families. To the larger group you should increase his inheritance, and to the smaller group you should reduce his inheritance. Everyone's inheritance will be where his lot falls. You will receive your property as an inheritance by the tribes of your fathers. If, though, you do not drive the inhabitants of the land away from before you, those whom you allow to remain will be as irritants in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they will harass you in the land where you will dwell. and I will do to you what I intended to do to them. Chapter 34. And Jehovah spoke further to Moses, saying, Give these instructions to the Israelites. When you go into the land of Canaan, this is the land that will fall to you as an inheritance, the land of Canaan, according to its boundaries. Your southern border will extend from the wilderness of Zin alongside Edom, and your south boundary on the east will be from the extremity of the Salt Sea. Your boundary will change direction to pass south of the ascent of Akrabim and continue to Zin, and its end will be south of Kadesh Barnea. Then it will extend to Hazar Adar and continue to Asman. The boundary will change direction at Asman to the Wadi of Egypt, and its end will be at the sea. Your western boundary will be the Great Sea and the coast. This will become your western boundary. Now this will be your northern boundary. From the Great Sea you will mark your boundary out to Mount Hor. From Mount Hor you will mark out the boundary to Lebo Hamath, and the end of the boundary will be at Zedad. And the boundary will extend to Ziphron, and its end will be Hazar Enan. This will become your northern boundary. Then you should mark as your boundary on the east from Hazar Enan to Shepham. The boundary will extend from Shepham to Riblah on the east of Ain, and the border will go down and cross the eastern slope of the Sea of Kinnereth. The border will extend to the Jordan, and its end will be the Salt Sea. This will be your land and the boundaries surrounding it. So Moses instructed the Israelites, saying, This is the land that you will apportion as your possession by lot, just as Jehovah has commanded to give to the 9½ tribes. For the tribe of the Reubenites by their paternal house, the tribe of the Gadites by their paternal house, and the half-tribe of Manasseh have already taken their inheritance. The 2½ tribes have already taken their inheritance east of the region of the Jordan by Jericho, toward the sunrising. Jehovah spoke further to Moses, saying, These are the names of the men who will divide the land for you to possess: Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun. And you will take one chieftain out of each tribe to divide the land as your inheritance. These are the names of the men. Of the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh. Of the tribe of the sons of Simeon, Shemuel the son of Ammihud. Of the tribe of Benjamin, Elidad the son of Kislon. Of the tribe of the sons of Dan, a chieftain, Bacchai the son of Joglai. Of the sons of Joseph, from the tribe of the sons of Manasseh, a chieftain, Haniel the son of Ephod. From the tribe of the sons of Ephraim, a chieftain, Kemuel the son of Shiftan. Of the tribe of the sons of Zebulun, a chieftain, Elizaphan the son of Panak. Of the tribe of the sons of Issachar, a chieftain, Paltiel the son of Azan. Of the tribe of the sons of Asher, a chieftain, Ahihud the son of Shilomai. Of the tribe of the sons of Naphtali, a chieftain, Pediel the son of Ammihud. These are the ones whom Jehovah commanded to distribute the land to the Israelites in the land of Canaan. Chapter 35. Jehovah went on to speak to Moses on the desert plains of Moab, by the Jordan at Jericho, saying, Instruct the Israelites that they are to give the Levites cities to inhabit out of the inheritance they will possess, and they should give the Levites the pastures around the cities. They will inhabit the cities, and the pastures will be for their livestock, their goods, and all their other animals. The pastures of the cities that you will give the Levites will extend for 1,000 cubits from the wall all around the city. You should measure outside the city 2,000 cubits on the east side, 2,000 cubits on the south side, 2,000 cubits on the west side, and 2,000 cubits on the north side, with the city in the middle. These will be the pastures of their cities. The cities that you will give to the Levites will be 6 cities of refuge, which you will give for the manslayer to flee to, as well as 42 other cities. You are to give to the Levites a total of 48 cities, together with their pastures. The cities you give them will be from the possession of the Israelites. From the larger group you will take many, and from the smaller group you will take few. Each group will give some of its cities to the Levites in proportion to the inheritance that it receives. Jehovah continued to speak to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, you are crossing the Jordan to the land of Canaan. You should choose cities convenient for yourselves to serve as cities of refuge, where the manslayer who unintentionally kills someone should flee. These cities will serve as a refuge for you from the blood avenger, so that the manslayer will not die until he stands trial before the assembly. The 6 cities of refuge that you provide will serve this purpose. You will provide 3 cities on this side of the Jordan and 3 cities in the land of Canaan, to serve as cities of refuge. These 6 cities will serve as a refuge for the Israelites, for the foreign resident, and for the settler among them, for anyone to flee there who unintentionally kills someone. But if he struck him with an iron instrument and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer should be put to death without fail. And if he struck him with a stone that could cause death, and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer should be put to death without fail. And if he struck him with a wooden instrument that could cause death, and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer should be put to death without fail. The avenger of blood is the one who will put the murderer to death. When he encounters him, he himself will put him to death. If death resulted because he pushed him out of hatred, or threw something at him with malicious intent, or out of hatred he struck him with his hand and he died, the one who struck him will be put to death without fail. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood will put the murderer to death when he encounters him. But if it was unexpectedly, and not out of hatred, that he pushed him or threw any article at him without malicious intent, or if he did not see him and caused a stone to fall on him, and he was not an enemy or seeking his injury, and the person died, the assembly should then judge between the one who struck him and the avenger of blood, in harmony with these judgments. The assembly should then save the manslayer from the hand of the avenger of blood, and return him to his city of refuge, to which he had fled, and he must dwell in it until the death of the high priest, who was anointed with the holy oil. But if the manslayer goes out of the boundary of his city of refuge to which he fled, and the avenger of blood finds him outside the boundary of his city of refuge, and slays the manslayer, he has no blood guilt. For he must dwell in his city of refuge until the high priest's death. But after the high priest's death, the manslayer may return to the land that he owns. These things will serve for you as a statute for judgment throughout your generations in all your dwelling places. Whoever kills a person should be put to death as a murderer on the testimony of witnesses, but no one will be put to death on the testimony of just one witness. You must take no ransom for the life of a murderer who is deserving to die, for he should be put to death without fail. And you must not take a ransom for one who has fled to his city of refuge, allowing him to resume dwelling in his land before the death of the high priest. You must not pollute the land in which you live, for blood pollutes the land, and there may be no atonement for the blood that has been spilled on the land, except by the blood of the one who spilled it. You must not defile the land in which you dwell, in which I am residing, for I, Jehovah, am residing in the midst of the people of Israel. Chapter 36. The family heads of the descendants of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of the sons of Joseph, approached and spoke before Moses and the chieftains, the family heads of the Israelites. They said,
Jehovah commanded my Lord to distribute the land by lot as an inheritance to the Israelites. And my Lord was commanded by Jehovah to give the inheritance of our brother Zelophehad to his daughters. If they marry men from another Israelite tribe, the women's inheritance will also be withdrawn from the inheritance of our fathers, and be added to the inheritance of the tribe to which they would then belong, so that it would be withdrawn from the lot of our inheritance. Now when the Jubilee takes place for the people of Israel, the women's inheritance will also be added to the inheritance of the tribe to which they then belong, so that their inheritance would be withdrawn from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers.
Then Moses commanded the Israelites at the order of Jehovah. What the tribe of the sons of Joseph is saying is correct. This is the word that Jehovah has commanded for the daughters of Zelophehad. They may marry whomever they wish. However, they should marry someone from a family of the tribe of their father. No inheritance of the Israelites should circulate from tribe to tribe, for the Israelites should hold on to the inheritance of the tribe of their forefathers. And every daughter who possesses an inheritance among the tribes of Israel should become a wife of a descendant of her father's tribe, so that the Israelites may keep possession of the inheritance of their forefathers. No inheritance should circulate from one tribe to another tribe, for the tribes of Israel should hold on to their own inheritance. The daughters of Zelophehad did just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. So Mahlah, Tirzah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, married the sons of their father's brothers. They became wives of men from the families of Manasseh the son of Joseph, so that their inheritance would remain in the tribe of their father's family. These are the commandments and the judicial decisions that Jehovah gave to the Israelites through Moses on the desert plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho.